Oh, hi everybody, it's Cairo Qween. Thanks for joining Face to Face with Cairo Qween. I sent out my invitations. I'm waiting on some spectacular guests because today we're going to talk about gaming. So video gaming, gamification, animation, and illusion. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I need you to check and tell me if you can hear me. So we got Haijak coming. Haijak is this crazy bananas illustrator. We have Antwand Pearlman from GamerFitNation coming. It's going to be bananas. It's going to be wicked. I'm not even like, I can't even tell you enough about it because these guys are just crazy. And I'm really excited about it. So we can't keep everybody on for a really long time. Some people have to go, so we're going to try to jump straight into it. And I am sending out information now, so I'm hoping people get these messages and that they can see me. If you can see me, I of course need you to send me a message, somebody, and tell me that you can see me and that we're live and that you can hear me well. So, yeah. Today I'm rocking the big curls, so yeah. So anybody out there, if you're watching and you can tune in and tell me if you can see me, please do. I just want to say, you know, somebody shout out, yeah, we see you, we hear you. Great, thanks. So again, Face to Face with Cairo Qween, and today we are on video gaming, animation, gamification, and illusion. So I have just some really awesome people that are going to be joining me today, and I'm so ecstatic. I have gone into a whole nother place with this event here because when I tell you that my mind has been expounded to a whole nother location, it just has. It just absolutely has. And I mean, you will be too. So I'm hoping that, you know, I can share some links with you that you can get out. I hear the beeps going off on Facebook, so somebody must be able to see me. Cool. Thank you, Steve Bird. Big check. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so if you are able, did you get it? Did you receive? Okay, cool. So, yeah, well, I'm Cairo Qween. I guess you figured that out already. And so this is going to be recorded now live, and it will be available on YouTube, Google+, Facebook, and Twitter. So you can now join me on Facebook as Cairo Qween, that's CAIROQWEEN, or as Cairo Qween, or at Cairo Qween on Twitter. That's CAIROQWEEN. Pretty much everywhere else. And if you don't find me there, you can find me under my business, and it'll usually say I broadcast. So I, like ice cream, broadcast like TV. So yeah, thanks for everybody tuning in. If you can, please now do a tweet for me. Do a tweet for me, and send out a tweet that you are watching Cairo Qween on a Google Hangout. So Face to Face with Cairo Qween on a Google Hangout. So our hashtag is going to be hashtag TechSocialite. That is hashtag Tech, T-E-C-H, Socialite. So please, if you happen to be watching, if you're tuning in right now, please do that and send that out for me. All right, is there anybody joining me today? Anyone? Okay, I'll send it again. Antwand said that he did not receive it. And if anybody else can or cannot hear me, and you did or did not receive your link, then I'll send it again. And Haijak, we'll make sure he got his. Antwand, did you get yours? Cynthia, did you get yours? Steve Brown, did you get yours? Are you watching me? Are you watching me? Are you watching me? Anyway, so yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. When I tell you your mind is going to go places today that you probably have never even thought about, I'm going to take you into the world of project mapping. It's going to be great. And then, of course, GamerFitNation. So check out GamerFitNation on Facebook. Check it out at the .com, GamerFitNation.com. And you can also check out our guest Haijak, that's Haijak, or on Twitter, he's HAIJAKD, like hijacked. So Jack is awesome. He's going to join us in just a moment. I'm sure that we'll get these guys in here somehow or another. I'm going to try and send it out one more time and make sure we get everybody on. Steve Brown, we're calling Steve Brown the Digital Afro. Anybody else you want to join, please go ahead and let me know that you want to get on and you want to talk to Haijak. That is Jack. He is truly a jack of all trades. You're going to see and hear. He's out in Hollywood, California, and Antwand is out in New York. So it's going to be super. We're going to have a great time going coast to coast and face to face with all my new Facebook friends and our Twitter friends, and we're going to bring some great technology information to this panel tonight. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, so I'm calling for a John Vaughan. That's what I'm looking for. John Vaughan Jack. All right. So, yes, I guess I can take a picture of myself while I'm doing this. All right, Steve Brown. Did you get your invite, Steve Brown? Did you get it? All right. You know I go through this every time I do a recording, so even when I do it early. So, yeah. Anybody, if you're listening to me, tell me something that you see in the future of technology. I want you to tweet that, or tweet it to me. Text it to me right now in the box, and you can participate by going to the left-hand corner of the screen, and you'll see where there's a word that says Q&A. You can actually click that and participate and send in information on Q&A right now or anytime during the course of this conversation. So I'm going to go look for my folks and see if they are going to join me. Hey folks, are you there? Hey everybody. Hey, I can see myself. That's funny. Are you there? All right. Comedian Jordan Jack Jackson is joining us. If you're watching me, I'm sending you a shout out, Mr. Comedian. Sending a shout out to who else? Who else is watching? I just heard somebody send me a message. Who is it? It is somebody else. Okay, I'm getting messages. Okay. Ransom test, pretty sure everything works now. Okay, he's going to join. Okay. Sending it again. Okay, so I'm like really excited. I spent 2 hours talking to Haijak last night, and he just literally had my mind going scatterbrain last night. It was so cool. I was really excited about it. Okay, somebody's joining us. Hey, it's Haijak! Yay!
Hi. How you doing,
Haijak!
How you doing?
How are you?
Doing great. Nice to be here.
I'm so excited to talk to you face to face. And I'm Cairo Qween, the person you talked to on the phone.
Oh yeah, no,
Twitter.
Nice to meet you too.
So it's a pleasure having you on out of Hollywood, California, and you are so super talented. I'm just excited about everything. I have my Digital Afro. He's on. He wants to do an interview with you whenever you're available, and I'm pretty sure other people will want to interview you too, because your stuff is absolutely amazing. And I'm really excited about it, and I think the whole world would be excited about it if they could see what you can do. So I'm going to keep pushing it out and just let people understand that this is absolutely amazing. And so if you could introduce yourself briefly, you know, or you know, to whatever extent you want, because we have time. Um, introduce yourself to our audience, and we'll probably be joined by a few other people. So go ahead, Jack. The floor is yours.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Cairo Qween. You're extremely kind. I'm Haijak. My name is John Vaughan. I'm originally from Spain. I grew up in Spain most of my life, and then I moved out here to the United States, and I went to school in St. Louis, and then in Florida, and then moved across the country, and then just started producing visual effects videos and working with very talented people out here.
He's so humble. You are, like, you're exceptionally humble, you know, which is very different from what I'm used to from a lot of people. But yeah, especially for the type of gift that you have. And then I have Stephen Brown, who is the Digital Afro. He just joined us. He's here in Atlanta.
Hey, what's up?
Nice to meet you, my man.
Nice to meet you.
Steve is our resident geek.
Oh, boy, to the utmost.
Geek power. Collaborating.
Hey, Jack, I saw your work, man. It's great. Great stuff.
Thank you so much.
I guess, I mean, of course, I got a lot of questions, a lot of things I wanted to talk about. Wow, man, it's good to kind of connect with folks that are, like, you know, in the same lane and really focused on you know, the visual aspects of you know, movie making and the effects and the post production aspect. That's just really awesome. What have you seen? What do you think about Andy Serkis and what's going on with Planet of the Apes and the whole, like, the whole, you know, what do you think about his work and what he's doing out there?
You know, I've been so busy I haven't even had a chance to take a look at that.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I've been just straight up out of whack busy. So
yeah. Well, talk about some of the things you're working on.
Well, right now I'm working with a friend of mine. His name is James Kinney from Kinney Group Creative, and we're working on this new music video that uses projection mapping as well.
Right.
Dedicating it to a movement, kind of a get an awareness movement, known as a stand-up movement. You know.
Yeah.
Working on that. And it's extremely interesting, extremely powerful too. A very powerful message behind it. So it's a very, very interesting message that we're going to be sending out, and very, very interesting project we're working on.
It's awesome, man.
Wonderful. Now listen, Jack, should we call you Jack or Hijack or John? Which one would you prefer?
Jack's fine. You've already said hi to me plenty of times.
Okay. All right. So Jack, let's go here. Explain what projection mapping is. I think the audience would want to know, because it's great to look at, but for an average person who has absolutely no idea what this is, can you explain this on a 12-year-old's level?
All right. In layman's terms, like we thought about, it is pretty much turning anything that a projection lands on into television. Essentially, that's the basic overall idea of projection mapping. Whatever curve, whatever, cool. You know.
So if, like, you're saying that you could take any projection and you could turn absolutely anything into a TV? Are there any items that you can't put the projection on?
As long as the light from the projector is casting on objects, whatever object that light casts on, multiple objects, a plethora of objects, as long as the light is casting on those objects can be turned into a visual medium, into a video, into a TV, essentially.
So you could actually, like, take a projection and put it on my face and change my actual character?
Absolutely, and with proper tracking and real-time graphics, you can actually achieve that quite efficiently.
That's really cool. So you're what we're looking for in the virtual space of the future, and so the future, Steve, is now, right?
Future is very much now. Future is very much now. So talk about some of the technology that you're using. What kind of system? What kind of software do you use? What kind of laptops? What's your setup like?
Well, it's essentially like every artist has a set of paintbrushes. Every artist has a set of mediums, acrylics, and oils, and sometimes they get to a point where they can't find enough in their own medium, so they start mixing those mediums.
Right.
And in the digital realm, in the digital world, a lot of digital artists find themselves limited by what they have to use and limited by the amount of income that they get, so they have to find ways around it. So I find myself mixing between Macs, PCs, all sorts of softwares that really have nothing to do with each other, and then combining these using movie techniques and film creating techniques. You know, so it's just a matter of creating collages and compositions with many various different tools.
Right, right. So like I think more people are getting familiar with with the type of work that you guys do. The stuff is awesome. I mean, the presentation, the visuals are just awesome, man. I want to talk about like how do you all come up with your concepts? Let's say when you're doing an elaborate stage show or elaborate live event, how do you guys sit down and say, okay, this is what we want to do? Do you all take the artists and kind of vibe with them and say, hey, this is the kind of package we want to do for you live on stage? Is that how you work? Talk about the process of how you guys create.
I freelance more than anything, and I have various people that I connect with to get different gigs, different jobs.
Right.
Depending on the gravity of the job, I have to dedicate a lot more time, a lot more effort. Depending on let's say the one of the last jobs I did, one of the big ones I really had to require a lot of time, and we didn't really have a lot of time. We only had about 3 weeks, and I did have to do some storyboarding. Only 7 minutes of animation, but I only had about 2 weeks to finish that, and there was really the storyboarding took one entire week. That took a lot of time, and we really didn't get much of what the client wanted translated. The client really didn't feel convinced. So in this kind of line of work, when you're working with live environments and not with film, you don't really have a set script sometimes, because most of the clients really don't know what they want.
Right.
They've never done something like this.
Right.
And eventually, a lot of the stuff that came out of there was a lot of experience that I've had with previous.
Can you freeze? Hello?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Jack, did you freeze on us? I think he froze. It's okay. It'll buffer out and come back. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the process, man, is I like watching how this stuff comes together. I think that's super interesting. You know what I mean? Like the final product is crazy. I hope people get a chance. I'm gonna share some of his links and stuff because
absolutely. Everybody share. Everybody, as a matter of fact, if you're watching right now, do this. Go to www.haijak.com. That's HAIJAK.com. You can also find him on Vimeo. Is it Vimeo? Vimeo.
Yeah, Vimeo.
Vimeo.
Yeah.
You can find Haijak on Vimeo and on Twitter. He has some remarkable work, and I mean, it's really awesome. And again, he's very humble, but he is an outstanding project mapper.
There you go.
Graphic art designer. He's back with us now. Yeah, sometimes it freezes like that, Jack. So, yeah. But again, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, I'm really excited, but I think you can tell Steve is a little more excited than I am.
Yeah, I do. I dabble. I work with this stuff, so.
Steve was so excited when I showed him your video earlier. He was like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, this is great. This is awesome, man. You were talking about the process. The last thing you said was how the clients sometimes they don't know what they want, and you kind of have to guide them into, into making, trying to tell them what exactly that they need. And touch on that again.
Essentially, I gave them some bare bones of what it was essentially going to look like. Just giving them ideas of how things were going to maybe move by putting some maybe emanating circles from a certain boombox or something.
Right.
And that kind of sold the effect, just to give me enough freedom to be able to create what I had in mind that I honestly believed is what they wanted.
Yeah.
Apparently, people have told me I have a really good knack at that, translating what people want into into the visual aspect.
Yeah.
And once that got through, at least half of it got through, then we finally got confirmation and got the last week to produce this final product.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So Jack, this question is something people would probably want to know. How long does it take you to create some of these designs that you make?
It depends a lot on the time. Sometimes I'm not giving that much time. Sometimes the deadline is 2 weeks, and it just is. I mean, not 2 weeks, 2 months, and it's really up to me to decide if I want to take it or not. Now that's for a very complex job that requires maybe 1 to 5 to 10 to 20 minutes of content, while on a weekly basis, maybe I can have another gig that is, requires less attention from me, and I can just come in, bring in 1 or 2 laptops, and really maybe 2, 3 projectors, and take up an entire club or house party easily. I mean, we used to do this in Hollywood a lot, just with like 3 projectors that I have lying around the house.
Wow. What's the frame rate, or what's the bit rate of some of these projectors? I know they must be, pretty high end as far as the pixels and talk about that. Are these 3D projectors that you guys are using?
Wait a minute. Steve, explain bit rate, because we're speaking to everyday people.
Oh, okay, right.
Well, so what is the bit rate, Steve?
Well, the bit rate is, I guess, the closest reference I can give you is when you're watching television, the amount of how fast the television or the computer screen processes the pixels that you see on your screen. So if it has a very high bit rate, that means that it's going to capture all of the visual elements at a very high quality. So of course, most HD TVs are when we went from analog to digital, the bit rate of the television increased, and of the bit rate of your monitor, increased, and it really helps with the sharpness and the clarity of what it is that you're watching. And I'm sure, with 3D projectors and things like that. I mean, I saw some of the work. I mean, it's awesome stuff. Talk about, are these 3D projectors that you guys are using? Or?
They're just simple projectors. Depending on how big the gig is.
Okay.
Really big projectors for really big gigs, but they're still regular 2-dimensional projectors that just put out a 2-dimensional image that is probably between an analog size and an HD size, full HD size, like a 1080.
Right.
Now that's just the projector itself. I actually built some of these servers myself, and I work with these servers, and so I've had to look forward to that and had to think ahead of that. So
right.
The last job with Pandora, we used about 6 projectors, and the last job with EDC, in Electronic Daisy Carnival, we used about 7 projectors, and then each job also has my personal monitor, which also needs, to be rendered. So that is a total of 8. So essentially, we're doing close to 3K, almost 4K every time in terms of resolution, and we have to do a lot of stuff we can do with pre-recorded media.
Yeah.
And convert it to the right format so that only the graphics units does it and not the process, not the real computer,
Right.
And other things really do require some real-time stuff, and me actually going in there in real time and changing things. And that can really get a little crazy. That can make a computer really chug, but you just have to balance things out in the terms of processing power and how fast the files are being read.
Right.
Processor. You have to really balance a lot of that stuff and try to let the RAM, you know, take it really easy to make things really work without chugging. And you have to sacrifice a lot, but you have to learn to create the illusion even though you're sacrificing a lot, magician style.
Yeah. You know, he just mentioned 4K. 4K, just for everyone, just so that they know, 4K televisions are just now kind of coming out. You know, they've got some. Sony's got a couple. They debuted some of these at CES 2014 and 2013. So, you know, 4K TVs and the type of effects, the high resolution rate that he's referring to, you know, that's just now coming out. So these graphics, and what he's saying is these graphics, when they're projected on the screen, are at a super high bit rate, and the stuff is just crystal clear, and it just looks, you know, just looks awesome. You know, I'm just a big fan, man. You know what I mean? I'm just really the stuff is just world class, man. And so yeah, that's great, man. So yeah, so talk about some of the software that you got. You said you built a server. So the server, you basically record. I know, Cairo, I know you got questions too.
Oh, so you're looking at you like he's so excited.
I mean, because man, that's.
Well, wait a minute. We had Cynthia. Cynthia Frazier has joined us. Cynthia is my resident nanotech expert. She's also out in California, by the way. Cynthia is the lady I told you, Jack, that has a gamification certification, and she got it a long time ago. So I asked her to join us because she actually has, you know, a little experience in this field. But, you know, just to add, you know, a little honey to the pot. Go ahead, Steve, and ask your 1,000 questions.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of questions. So I know we talked about.
Exciting.
Yeah, I know it is. This is exciting stuff. What do you guys got going on next? What's in the future for you guys?
You're talking to me, or you're talking to?
Yeah, Jack.
Okay. In the future right now, well, I already mentioned I'm working with Kinney Group Creative, but coming up really close is Boom Festival and Burning Man, and after that, probably, I don't know, I've still got a lot of projects that I'm considering taking, and I can't really say much after Burning Man.
Right.
Because it takes such a long time to really recover from such a big effort out there, you know?
Right.
So that's pretty much what's in mind right now. I'm working right now with Mark Healy, that we used to work together at Fractal Planet and Fractal Nation and Burning Man. And we're really looking forward to setting up a lot of cool stuff for a few friends of ours, that maybe Sacred Spaces and a few other camps. Like I'm also working with Transmorphagon, and we're going to see if we can really make that pop.
Yeah, that's great, man. What so when you guys the question I was thinking about was how do you see this integrating with movies or you know, some of the home entertainment? Because if what we're referring to, a lot of people, well, Cairo and I were talking about this earlier, how this type of technology down the road could really be integrated into movie theaters and you know, into even possibly you know, home theaters and coliseums and things of that nature. If people haven't seen your work, what it does, it basically, Jack and his team go out at these, you know, large events and you know, huge festivals and things like that, and they let's say for the Super Bowl or something like that, when you have Beyonce performing on the stage, you know, she has an entire, you know, huge visual display behind her on the left and the right of her, and you know, Jack is one of those gentlemen who goes out and sets up that elaborate, huge, you know, video display that corresponds with the artist. And I mean, you know, it just takes an artist, their presence on the stage and their entire show to a whole nother level. And if, like I said, if people, you know, if they haven't seen it, where do you think this kind of technology, because Cairo and I were talking about this earlier, you know, the concept of the movie theater is kind of, it's been around for, you know, about 100 years. You know, you're sitting in a chair and you're looking forward, and you know, the screen is directly in front of you. How do you see all of this projection and, you know, and being fully immersed in what it is that you're watching? How do you see the technology and the things that you do? how do you see that integrated in movie theaters? Do you think this is the direction that movie theaters need to go in, kind of like, you know, complete circumference of the person and bringing them into it?
Well, let me put it in a simple way. The four walls need to disappear.
Yeah.
That's essentially it. The way movies are, you still have them in the four-wall format. Everything, every computer, every tablet, it's still, you've got four sides. I mean, it's a rectangle, it's a square.
Yeah.
And we're moving into holography, but that's not really going to be adopted into the masses anytime soon. At least not until, like, not for 5 or 10 years.
Right.
What I'm seeing is a lot of people changing from having upgrading from the new television to the next television to the next television to the next television.
Right.
And I'm seeing like projectors and home projectors and in-house projectors. They're kind of also limited to the same principles of definition.
Right.
But they're not limited to the scale. They're not limited to the size. You can just find a good one for your own apartment and really take up an entirely blank wall and say, this is my television. That's why the wall is blank. It's my television. Stuff like that. Another approach is also video games, gaming, all sorts of games that I've seen that have like some sort of a cockpit arrangement or something like that. You can really turn your environment to game programmers can definitely take advantage of an environment made. They're not limited to the scale. They're not limited to the size. You can just find a good one for your own apartment and really take up it. I'm getting some feedback. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's Antwand. Antwand just joined us.
Another approach is also
Antwand.
All sorts of
mute
arrangement or something like that. You really turn your environment to game programmers can definitely take advantage.
Sorry, somebody's got to go on mute real quick.
Oh no, I don't think I'm on mute. Am I on mute?
Is it me?
Okay, Antwand.
I'm sorry.
Say your name. I'm sorry. I got it wrong.
Oh, my fault.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought the guy was still talking. I guess I was playing the other audio. Hey, hello. How you doing?
Hi, okay, GamerFitNation. Antwand. I'm still saying it wrong. Antwand Pearlman, right?
Antwand Pearman.
Okay, there we go. All right, so he is from GamerFitNation. I didn't mean to cut you guys off, though, but he has a short stint with us. That, he has to run. You're fine. Yeah,
all right.
He has to run, so jump in, and we'll come back to Jack. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't leave. We'll be right back to you because we have a lot more to talk about.
Right.
So, Antwand, let's talk about, introduce yourself really quick and tell us about GamerFitNation and what you have going on really quick.
Oh, all right. Well, GamerFitNation.com is a video game and healthy lifestyle online magazine. Yeah, we're about, promoting positive gamer images and getting gamers encouraged to be better in shape and be more active and stuff like that.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Okay, and so just give me a little bit more information about what you do. Like, I know you do a lot of interviews with comic book stars and people at different events and all sorts of live and wonderfully entertaining things out there in New York, because you always have events and I see you going to your interviewing people with your team. Tell me a little bit about that.
All right. This is like how you would see Men's Health magazine, but we have like writers who are video game enthusiasts as well as fitness experts and doctors, dietitians, nutritionists who write for our site. We also do interviews across the board. We do interviews, to cover fitness. We also do interviews that cover gaming, as well as like lifestyle, tech, and stuff like that. Because there is a lot of tech innovations that relates to health and fitness. So we do that too. And it kind of, doing GamerFitNation for what it was, it brought me to like open up a whole bunch of doors for me. I ended up interviewing a lot of celebrities, ended up going to a lot of different events and stuff like that. And that was like pretty much very encouraging in me keeping up with GamerFitNation and keeping my team focused.
Okay, wonderful.
I wasn't sure if y'all could hear me. I was like, oh, there's the
No,
sound.
I hear you fine. I hear
Right.
you fine. And so, okay, you went to CES. This is a major thing that connected me to you is when I found you. You were at CES, where I wanted to be at, of course. Tell me what you experienced going into CES, and talk about the different games that you saw while you were out there, or the gaming that you saw going on out there.
Now, I've been to a lot of conferences. I mean, I've been to E3, I've been to Comic-Con, I've been like everywhere, but I like CES for a variety of reasons. One of which is the fact that it's so much more room. Two, it's so much more to do. Because CES is huge. It's a huge event. And then, but what's really cool is the environment as far as tech and the people. It's like they really engage you a lot differently. And which really, as far as innovations, there's like they have a whole section that's committed to health. They have like whole sections committed to like TV tech and everything. And I really enjoyed it. I mean, the atmosphere is cool, the food is excellent, party and everything.
That's great, man. That's great.
I encourage anybody to make it to go.
We'll be out there in January this time. We're gonna make it, dadgummit.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be out there. Definitely.
Yeah. So, okay, and I mean, I know you have to go, so I'm trying to get as much information as there's in here.
Can I ask you a quick question?
I'm not gonna rush it too much. Like,
hey, Antwand, let me ask you, what was the coolest thing you saw at CES 2014? What was the coolest thing that you saw?
That's a good question. There's a lot. I mean, let me see. Well, Samsung had a curved TV.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. The curved TV, because it's one of those things that you have to see in person.
Yeah.
People can describe it, they can show you pictures, but it's never going to really quite come out the way it's you see in person. It's like it's much more dynamic. It's much more there. The pixels, everything's beautiful. So Samsung's curved TV was the joint. I mean, as far as like other stuff, like what was cool was I was there for Samsung's event where
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay, yeah, I was there for the incident. That was funny.
Yeah, what happened with that? Was there ever an explanation of what exactly happened?
Oh no, the teleprompter was messed up, and he already had like a stage fright, but then on top of stage fright with the teleprompter being messed up, he just said, you know what, I can't do it.
So Michael Bay actually had this guy who's made some of the biggest blockbusters in history. This guy, he's still, I guess, he just never, things are never, I guess you never get over that. You know what I mean?
No. There's a difference between being in front of the camera and being behind. Remember, Michael is behind the camera. Yeah. So it doesn't really have to be in front. I mean, and then on top of that, it's on stage in front of thousands of people.
Right.
And streaming to millions of people. So for him, it was just like, and then his lines was messed up. He didn't know how to play it off,
Right. It was just overwhelming. That's very interesting. I'm
currently pissed off at him. So.
Right. I just did an article. They're going full steam ahead with these curved TVs. I know LG's coming out with their model. I think possibly by Christmas time. So that should be pretty awesome. Did y'all see any? Did you see the curved phones? Did they have those out there? The flexible phones?
The curved phones I didn't get to see.
Hey, I don't remember any of those either out there at CES.
Yeah, I see that.
I do.
CES is like early January, so I was trying to think there was something else crazy I seen.
Were the driverless cars out there?
Nah, I didn't see driverless cars. I mean, We drove some cars. We drove the electric cars, but I didn't see driverless cars.
Yeah, I know Audi. They did a big thing on. Well, from what I understand, they've been showing their their driverless car, the one that parks itself. They've been talking about that a lot. So I was wondering if that was out there at CES, but yeah, that's awesome, man. That is awesome. What's next for you guys on the? What's your next project, Antwand?
All right, so, well, other than the fact that all this week I'm going to be busy because I'm going to be dealing with the big, well, man, I have a whole bunch of events with video game companies, like coming up. But I have GamerFitNation has its own event that's coming up on the 25th of this month.
Okay.
It's a free event for anybody who's in New York, but we're doing a fitness event called the GamerFit Academy.
Yeah.
We have our personal trainers, our coaches, and they're going to be taking people out to Central Park, and you can come out, work out with them, and get a free workout and stuff like that with some professional trainers, get some handouts, nutrition, stuff like that, and possibly giveaways from Monster products.
That's great, man. That's great. How long you guys been up and running?
4 years.
Well, yeah, that's great. That's great.
So only in real time can you actually have your computer crash on you, shut down, and then you come back.
I'm sorry, what happened?
My computer crashed on me.
Oh, okay. Pros.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, it just crashed. It shut the whole entire internet down and turned my computer off and did a reboot. That's funny. That's super funny. Okay, so where was I? I was talking about Antwand. Okay. Antwand.
Sorry, I've been pausing. I've been sending this out, inviting people to come see. So.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes. A lot of times this will be watched later on. We call that perpetual advertising, where we'll tape here, but then I'll go send it all over the internet virally on Twitter, on Facebook. In fact, I think that's how I met Haijak. I was sending out a video of one of my, I think it was the Computer Love one we did last week, or maybe it was the one before that. But yeah, just send it out virally, and other people will watch it, and I'll do a bunch of hashtags, and then people will watch it in those clusters on Twitter, or people will come to my YouTube account or my wherever. I put it all over the place. So yeah, this is good. I really want people to understand. And Cynthia is here. Cynthia is going to elaborate on the importance of this platform of gaming and gamification and animation and this 3D world, which I have to get back to Haijak on because we have so much information. I keep calling you Haijak, Jack. We have to get back on, more of the great elaborative visualizations that he does, and I'm going to try and do a screen share. You may not be able to hear what it is that the music is doing, but you can see. I got to ask you about this guy, the crushing guy that does this thing. That's exciting. But anyway, okay, so Antwand, tell me about your platform. So what made you come up with this?
Well, it started when, of course, it's one of those situations where there's a want and a need, but pretty much I started seeing the trend where people were getting back in shape, and then you had like PlayStation and Xbox come out with these peripherals that compete with Nintendo that promoted health and fitness. So, with the want and need, seeing people was also, getting into P90X at the same time, and I was trying to get into like P90 at the time. I felt like I wanted to create a forum where people can come and talk about it. Gamers can talk, get encouragement, and everything about it. Never did I think it was going to become what it became, but it did. That's how things run. What really motivated me was a story on CNN about a mother and father who were so addicted to video games they let their child starve to death. So I felt like I wanted to do something that tackled health in many areas as well as mental health. And, I started reaching out to, psychologists, professionals, and asked them if they wanted to contribute, and they did so. And pretty much, that's the origin of GamerFitNation.com.
That's spectacular, and that's a great story because this literally drives home the reason why we're doing this, which is to tell everyday people you can create a tech space right here. There's so much that you can do inside of technology. There is literally limitless possibilities. And so by proxy, I'm a tech socialite. Who does that? You know, yeah, I go everywhere and I'm a big socialite. But take a lot of pictures, hang out with a lot of people, but I'm talking technology to them most of the time. So I figured I would do that to you and then make a digital broadcast platform for it. You know, and here we have Antwand, who actually has done something similar, but he's brought in the whole health community into it. Plus, he loves video games. I mean, how do you make a business out of your passion? What did Warren Buffett say? The things that you love, the things the world loves, make a hobby of yours. With the things that you love, make a hobby of yours. The things that the world loves, make a business of yours. So everybody loves technology. They may not realize it, but it's absolutely everywhere. So it's a great place to be, and they're making billions of dollars in this every day, and that's why we're gonna get Jack and Antwand to that same place, along with Digital Afro, Tech Divas Uncorked, and Cairo Qween. So we're trying to collectively bring this community together and push it forward, so the rest of the world will get it, and they'll start to pay money into it. Yeah. They'll do it for Silicon Valley, but Silicon Valley is everywhere. It's not just in California.
I got a question, Jack. What are some of your favorite films? The ones that you look at for inspiration that you're just like, wow, that's kind of where I would like to be involved in it. Or what are some of your favorite films?
More of a documentary guy, but if I had to say favorite films, man, really good old school cartoons, or after that it's Pixar, and then really good digital movies like back in the day, freaking Terminator 2. You know,
oh
Terminator
man,
2.
Wow. Oh man, yeah.
And Blade Runner kind of stuff. You know, you see the Blade Runner kind of like the how they used all the videos, corner pin them to fit the right spot and make all these environments. Making that real time now is
I heard they're remaking Blade Runner. I heard.
Really?
What do you think about that? You think they should leave that alone, or you think?
I heard it was going to be a sequel.
Yeah, they're supposed to be. I know they're coming out with a continuation. There were talks about redoing it, but I guess they just decided the best thing to do was to continue the story. Like when Harrison Ford and Sean Young were driving off, I'd rather see that than than them trying to remake it. You know what I mean?
Without Philip K. Dick, I'm not sure what we could achieve nowadays. And I'm also worried that it's going to have that Total Recall effect where the new one came out, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful in many ways, but it was not Total Recall.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just so.
It wasn't. It was a totally different movie. I was so disappointed.
It was totally whack. It was beautiful.
It was fantastic in many ways.
I don't think it was whack. It was great, but it just wasn't. It wasn't the Arnold Schwarzenegger version. That one was impactful, and it says, you know what I think it was? It was the fact that Arnold Schwarzenegger's version was so futuristic, we all thought that was a hoax. We got to get to that. We all thought that was some kind of big, elaborate digital invention that Hollywood created. But in fact, all the stuff has now come to pass, and it wasn't as, impactful, I think.
Yeah, it just didn't have the weight of the story the way that kind of like the first one had. I mean, here's the thing. Here's my thing with science fiction. I'm a huge science fiction fan. I think it has to be a strong balance. I think one of the guys that's always gotten it right with like the balance of science fiction and story is James Cameron. Like the way that Jack. My main thing. I just love the way out of everything, you're going to be blown away by the effects, but you are going to be even more blown away by the quality of the story. And I think, as I'm moving more into directing and things of that nature, and I've already kind of got the creative aspect down and the visual aspect. The main thing now is just really just balancing out, making great stories, because at the end of the day, that's what people really want. You just can't have a whole lot of effects on the screen. That's really gonna.
When it comes to story, like I like to say, I'm a connoisseur. Like story is just my forte. I love stories. I create stories. And if you know what lasts to me is a story that I can remember. That's a story that I bring up in conversation and everything. Like Total Recall wouldn't be the type of thing that I would like, oh man, did you see that? Like, or you remember this part? I can't do that with Total Recall. It's not something that lasts. I'm not talking about the old version. I'm talking about the new version.
The new version.
Yeah, most films.
What
like,
are some of your favorite?
Huh?
What are some of your favorite, Antwand?
See, I've seen like over 10,000 movies probably.
I'm right with you.
You got yeah. So out of those, which one do you like? Which one is your favorite?
Well, we talk about science fiction, right? Or general. Like my favorite genre is horror.
Okay.
I like really. Like, I'm very particular about my horror.
You like a Faces of Death guy?
I've seen Faces of Death, but that's more so, that's something else. That's not really a horror movie. That's just more so like a horror documentary.
Horrible to me.
Yeah.
Was it real?
Some of it was real. Some of it was reenacted. But some of the footage was real.
That was uber gross.
No, like when I say horror, I mean like The Evil Dead. I mean like Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm talking about Tales from the Crypt. And I'm not, and even when I say Tales from the Crypt, I'm not even talking about the HBO show. I'm talking about the original.
Okay, I was like, that's throwback. That's all.
You know what I mean? Like the original Tales from the Crypt and Tales from the Dark Side and stuff like that. Like freaking Warlock and stuff. You know, like or The Thing. You know what I mean? So.
I love The Thing.
They're remaking that too.
Huh?
I heard they're remaking that too.
They already did.
I didn't see it. I didn't hear much about it. So
it was actually pretty good. It was a prequel.
Really? Okay.
It was
Wait a minute. We lost Cynthia. Dang it. Okay. Well, hopefully she'll join back in. Okay. Cool.
I mean, science fiction is just like when it comes to it. I guess. It's so hard to like me to pull like a particular thing. I like RoboCop. Would RoboCop still count as science fiction? The original.
That was so hot. I like Part 2. Part 2 was really good to me, I thought.
You talking about the new one?
Yeah, I really like that.
Oh, you like the new one?
I didn't get a chance to see that. That's all right though.
I thought the new one was good. It's just there was, to me, what was missing was, the kind of 80s kind of comedic, but not meant to be comedic factor of it. Like, it was that style of like.
I'll buy that for $1.
Yeah. Like, they had commercials randomly playing through RoboCop, but the commercials was like so propaganda, so like weird, like the type of commercials where they had Nukem where you nuke everybody. It was supposed to be like Risk, but it's called Nukem.
Yeah, I remember Nukem. Yeah.
I thought that they should have kept that element in because that's a reason why RoboCop did so well. It wasn't the fact that it was just robots fighting and stuff. It was the fact that it had that element of the era in it, and I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I also found RoboCop insulting.
When they went to Detroit, did a lot of that.
I found it insulting because I don't know if anybody peeped this, but RoboCop was made in Taiwan.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
He was made in China.
Another science fiction movie that really like parallel. I think really got the future really closely. I don't know if y'all remember Running Man. But Running
Man, yeah. That's all we talk about, Running Man.
Let me break a couple of things down. Like I saw Running Man the other day. It came on TV, and I was happened to be just watching it, whatever. And I was like, man, all of this stuff with reality TV, how over the top reality TV is now, and then they got user interaction, how people are voting for whether this guy gets killed or not, or how all of that stuff, and then it's going to come down to a point where we almost have like a police state. You know what I mean? Like we're going to in the future, and this is not so far off, and I think they really got this right too. There's going to be a separation of classes so extensive that the middle class didn't even exist. Like in that society, you know what I mean, it was just either you were rich or you were poor, and you were in one of those one of those work camps that Arnold Schwarzenegger got sent to. So I mean, it's kind of like, you know, all of that stuff, man. It, you know, whoever they paralleled that, and that's almost the direction we're headed in right now. So
don't get me started on conspiracy theories, because I'll start talking to you about camps that they've already built around the country.
Yeah,
I honestly believe we're already in that situation. You know, I really believe we're there and we're just not aware, because a lot of our decisions, a lot of our wrong decisions, eventually are manifesting these things that are happening around the world.
Right.
You know?
Totally.
Yeah, it's really getting to that point. But it's good to talk with some the folks that understand film and science fiction. A lot of times I can't, you know, I throw these quotes out there, I throw these names, people are like, what, who, you know, I don't remember that.
See, I forgot Back to the Future science fiction, so I love Back to the Future.
Yeah,
I'm just happy that society was smart enough not to make flying cars. I think that would have been the worst thing that would have happened.
Oh, wait a minute.
You know,
you don't know.
Next year.
You don't know.
That's stupid. That is so stupid if they come out with flying cars.
Yeah, they got the flying car coming next
year.
The
future is now.
That is so stupid.
They got
hovercrafts.
It's already been approved by the FAA. It's the flying car is coming next year.
Jack.
We've got 1 year left. We've got 1 year left to reach that Back to the Future marker. You know,
they should not do it because people will crash into buildings. People can't barely drive on the ground, let alone drive in the sky. It will be so many accidents. They're going
to have to create an infrastructure for flying cars, and we'll have to go get new licenses and all of that stuff. Of course, you'll probably have to have like some license to hover, yeah. Right. But I mean, you'll have to have the infrastructure, so you'll have to have like an air highway, kind of like in the Jetsons.
Even when go wrong. Like, come on, just think about
Cynthia, are you back with us?
I am. I've gone from 3 different computers back and forth, and
she's a super techie.
No, I just have enough computers to, you know, when one doesn't work, then I just try the other. That's all.
Wait, Cynthia, you have nothing on Jack. I talked to Jack yesterday. He said he had like 50 computers. I was like, how do you have 50 computers?
Wow.
I was obviously exaggerating a little bit. I do have.
That's like a fantasy to me.
It's all about building them. That's when it's cheap. I build them myself. That's why it's so cheap.
Hey, Jack.
Okay, everybody. I want you to hashtag hijack a computer. No, I'm joking.
No, from Jack.
From Jack. Wait, that's funny. I would love to see 50 computers in one place that's not like a computer lab, just doing something operational.
I had 11 in my house. People were scared to come in there. Yeah. Like on the top, you know, like on the top, bottom, and the top floor. I had 11 all spread out through the house. But that was when that was when I was working on a project. Some of my friends would come on. We were working on it. But that's another story. But yeah. So yeah, I was gonna ask So Jack, you out there in LA, right? What do you think is going on with the industry right now?
He's in Hollywood.
Yeah, he's in Hollywood. What do you think is going on with the industry right now? This is a 2-part question. What do you think about you know, when are they going to start? I know they've kind of touched on giving, you know, people behind the scenes and digital artists and things of that nature. You know, they have the awards for digital artists, but it doesn't even get aired on television. I mean, what are your thoughts about that, man? Because I mean, you know, these are the real professionals. You know, the actors and whatnot. Okay, that's cool, but you know, you've got a whole army of people that are making these films that are behind the scenes that never get shown. So, you know, when is that going to start? What are your thoughts about how, you know, the industry kind of still doesn't, you know, give digital artists the respect that they deserve, and giving them their own, giving them their own award shows and things like that, televising, you know what I mean?
It's a lot of various aspects, I have to admit. The visual effects artists really are a very big part of the entire structure of the industry, and I mean, like almost part of the backbone, because there's other things that have to really make that backbone stand. So you can't
Right.
really make them crucial. But they are definitely without visual effects artists. I mean, all a movie is green or blue because it's a blue screen or a green screen.
Hello.
You
Exactly.
know. So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes.
All right. Sorry, my bad. So all it is a blue screen or a green screen, really. Cairo Qween and me were talking about this last night over the phone. Honestly, honestly, if you watch the movie Gravity without the visual effects, that's all it would be. A green screen with a couple actors dressed up in green tights.
Right.
You know, so it's really hard to imagine how a visual effects artist can turn that into a full-on production, a full-on movie. And people don't, it's not a matter that people don't see it, because there's tons of documentaries explaining it, and like behind the scenes and this and that. It's just people don't grasp how powerful each one of those watchers, each one of those viewers is. They don't grasp that they can do exactly that they're watching. They don't grasp that it's actually really easy to do if you just put yourself to it and dedicate some time to organize yourself to get it done.
Right.
You know, and it's a matter of 1 + 1 is 2, + 1 is 3, + 1 is 4, and then you start building up on this structure, and you start understanding a structure, and all of a sudden you got a full finished movie. Visual effects artists don't really get recognized in this way because of how misinterpreted art is. Art usually is just painting and using analog tools or physical tools that you can just grab and freaking do art with. You know, just splatter paint on a canvas and stuff like that. You can't really grasp those same ideas, and there's technologies trying to make this happen.
Yeah.
You know, and essentially, because these things are not working, excuse me, essentially because, sorry, I kind of got lost. I got a little pop-up on my screen. I forgot where I was at.
So that was, your picture came up. It does that. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. I was explaining about how they don't get recognized, really. And I'm not sure exactly at which point of the story I was at the moment.
But yeah, you know,
I understand that totally.
You know, when are they going to have their do you think that they will have a separate award for people behind the scenes and you know, just their own dedicated ceremony? I know they have one right now, but it's not televised. When do you think it's going to go to the next level?
It's really going to be when everybody essentially becomes more involved in media and in discovering how to really deliver that media, because there's so many people who don't know how to upload a video, you know, to YouTube.
Yeah.
And once they expose themselves, so in future generations, once they expose themselves to that, soon enough, they're going to be discovering, oh, these new tools allow me to like do all sorts of things on YouTube itself, you know. And
Score for Jack.
Yeah.
That is absolutely the right answer. Hey, I want to bring in Cynthia really quick. Cynthia can apply this educational piece here because, of course, we always want to bring this back to the intellectual property of technology and how it can actually expand everyone's horizons. Cynthia went to school and got a certification in gamification. So Cynthia, everybody, thank you again. I don't want you to go anywhere. And Antwand, if you have to, I know you will. I do have a question for you about what the best video game is out right now. Well, I'll come back to that in a second. But Cynthia, I need to bring you into the conversation. And I want to ask you about this whole educational platform for these specific skills that these gentlemen have.
Awesome. Well, first, can I ask Jack if he'll come out here to the very warm and sunny San Bernardino County and help me to excite some folks that are not Hollywoodites. You know, outside of the LA basin, it's really a challenge to get folks pumped up and charged up about technology. But outside of that, yeah, I took a gamification class a couple of years ago from Penn State. It's actually a free class that's available online. You probably know that most of your top 10 universities like Stanford, Penn State, Harvard, they all now are offering online courses for free. And when I saw the gamification come up, I thought, wow, this is really neat, because gamification has so many different applications, especially in the arena of education. But you know, you guys have been talking a lot about the need for more on-the-ground use so that people understand, and there was a really dynamic talk. I know, Cairo, you're going to try to get Sandra on, because she was really hitting the ball out of the park last night on the digital drummer.
Oh, man, she did.
Yes, about going beyond just playing around with this stuff, but really understanding how it can be utilized in your everyday life, or particularly as it relates to educators who are in charge of educating the next generation of users. So I encourage you all to go over and take a look at that course that's offered by Penn State. I think there were about 65,000 people all over the world who signed up for the course and started the course, but there was only about 3,000 of us that actually finished and received the acknowledgement of accomplishment. So,
what is some of the content, Cynthia? What is some of the content in the class?
So the content is game. It's using the game elements in the corporate world. It really was kind of focused more on the corporate world of how to utilize the elements of gamification or gaming to solve problems in the rest of the world. Okay. So we did projects. What I did was I actually came up with a gaming system to gamify, if you will, my 10-year-old's homework. Okay. Because you know, if you thank you for that applause, I appreciate that. If you know anything about young boys at that age, he was in 3rd grade, I think, back then. It's sometimes a challenge to get kids on task. Right. And I love the idea of gamifying the whole homework system, because he could relate to it. And before I took the class, I couldn't relate to it in terms of the levels. If you guys play, some of the games, you know that there are different levels that you have to achieve. And it was fascinating to me to understand how these young people, and particularly males, I think because there are more males right now playing the games than females, even though there are female gamers out there. Big shout out to you guys. But I couldn't understand, what is it about this game that keeps you so engaged? Yeah. And so when I took the gamification class and understood how to build in the levels, it just hit home for me.
That's a good approach.
Yes.
I think it offers kind of like that strategy, and almost like men going to war, but it offers that strategy and the ability to strategize, like chess, for example. And I think a lot of times you see a lot more men playing chess than you do see women playing chess, but I think it kind of offers that same type of ability to strategize and to utilize your mental prowess, and I think, mathematically there's a lot more calculating that you have to do, and I know that, of course, statistically men are better in mathematics than women are just by nature, and that's a global trend, but of course, I think that, that's an actual fact, that more people gravitate, more males gravitate to mathematics than females do. Yeah. And so I think it does offer that.
That's only because around the 6th grade, that's when girls start to hear things from the greater society, like, oh, you don't really like math, or math is really for for boys. You want to do something different. So most studies show that up until about the 6th grade, girls and boys have the same level of interest in math and science. But, you know, these society gender norms, if you will, start to push girls in one direction, push boys in another direction.
Right.
Yeah, it's societal conditioning of the female person.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Good
I
information.
mean, because you know, obviously, women are, you know, of course, just as intelligent as men. Or in some cases, a lot more. But you know, it's just kind of like what society, how society tries to guide, you know, you know, guide women and guide men in different directions. Yeah, that's very interesting.
One more point that I wanted to make about learning about gamification, because incentives are extremely important in the world of gamification. And we learn through taking this class that something as simple as a badge that you download. So, you know, I think if we're in the traditional world, particularly when it comes to education, we're kind of taught that to incentivize someone, you need something really massive and big and, you know, something that stands out. But in the world of gamification, it could be something very digital or virtual, like your mayor for the day.
Right.
Something as simple as that, which means absolutely nothing outside of, you know,
the
that
virtual
game.
space, right?
Exactly, or that game itself. So just learning how to incentivize and build in incentives into the problem-solving world, I think, is something that is fascinating.
You know, that really ties into you know, that's something that classrooms as a whole need to adopt. You know, they need to adopt you know, some type of tangible gratification for students, because that, right, and give them incentives, because you know, in school, the way things are right now, it's kind of like you just learn. There's no incentives. You take the test and then you forget. You know what I mean? There's no, you know, there's nothing tangible or no incentives in there to motivate kids to go from one stage and you know, ramp up to, you know, to different layers and different levels. You know, I really think that's that approach is something that's really going to change, you know, the education system as a whole, if they could adopt something, if they could adopt that methodology of, you know, incentives and things like that. Because I mean, it's tough for kids to just do this stuff, and there's no reward in it. You know what I mean? Like, there's just, you know, another thing. It's kind of like you know, I guess one of the reasons why kids work so hard, let's say in athletics, because you know, you get a trophy, you get to various rewards.
That's a great point.
You know, it's just, but it's not like that in learning. So there has to be a real methodology switch, you know, to really just give more motivation and more incentives for kids to really want to learn. I think electronic mediums can really change that or bring that into the forefront, because you know, my mom's in education, so you know, that system is already kind of like, you know, in its place and been up and running for dozens of years. I mean, for, you know, for decades. But now with the new generations coming on board with the electronic learning and things like that, I think that's really going to be key. You know, it's really giving kids the incentive to get to.
I want you guys to tell me if you can see this video up.
Yeah, I can see your video.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I didn't really get that last
Go ahead.
part.
Somebody was saying something.
Yeah, I can see the video. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. I just couldn't hear her. She sounded like she broke up.
Okay.
I was gonna say,
Did
I
break
mean,
up?
I just heard, did I break up?
No, I'm going on mute.
All right. What I was gonna say is, I mean, I came back in on something that sounds like you was talking about education and technology. That's what it sounds like you guys were talking about, correct? Well,
Yeah.
okay. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, we were just talking about
Um,
giving kids incentives to learn.
I mean, yeah. I mean, from what I've been hearing, there's some schools have introducing tablets into classrooms for students and stuff instead of books. Since especially since books end up costing, I guess money for because usually you have to purchase your books or whatever. I guess they just say we just give you a tablet and you could download whatever chapters and everything on there. I mean, that's one way of doing it. Of course, there's probably some risk management when it comes to tablets, but it's also showing that we're kind of edging on into where we should be as in the future of education. Um, I also,
Yeah.
personally, I do feel like schools should teach um, after a certain grade, in a certain grade level, they should teach other forms of education such as coding and tech and app development, as well as stuff about credit. I feel like these are things that, especially where we're going in the future, it should be a part of the curriculum or electives. If they are now, they weren't when I was growing up. We had home ec, or we had video broadcasting, or maybe we had computers, but it was only basic computers. Whereas now there's a need for beyond basic computers. There's a need of understanding of coding and applications and how to be an entrepreneur and how to fund businesses and crowdfunding and everything. I feel like this is where we are going, and this is the type of electives that should be in school now.
Yeah.
Wow, that was an impactful statement, and I love that. That's absolutely true. Our education system is, I don't want to say it's failing us, but it is. It is. At this point in time, there are things that are being taught that shouldn't even be taught anymore. You know what I mean? I think we're in a different space and time right now where the education trend needs to do, an overhaul entirely. And I think a lot of people are seeing that they just don't know how to implement it. So that was a good point, everybody. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's real. We're
Okay,
moving.
so listen, I want to zoom into this video really quick, and I wanted to do a video of Antwand's too. I'm gonna call you GamerFitNation. Okay, so I don't mess your
You
name
can
up
call me
anymore.
by my GamerFitNation stage name, which is Black Bible, but I mean that's your perspective.
Black Bible. Okay, I like that. Can everybody see my screen? Like, is it up on the jumbo screen, or do I need to
I can
switch
see
the
it.
screens? Okay, I want to play this video because I need people while I'm recording to understand how serious this stuff is that Jack does, because this is crazy. This is just a reel, and it's very brief for about a minute. So I'll ask everybody to press mute really quick. I don't think we can hear it because it's not being fed through YouTube. It's being fed through a screen share. And let's hope my screen doesn't crash while I do this. I don't know what's going on with it today. I think I have stuff. Okay, yeah, good job. I hear the mute go off. So I'm going to press play now so people can go ahead and see this. I wonder, can you hear it?
Might take a minute to load, to be honest.
Okay, I'm going to start it over. In 5, 4, 3, 2. I'll refresh it. Oh, crud. Here. There we go. New button. All right, and this is Jack's page, John Von Reel, 2014.
If it's having a hard time playing, maybe it's best to play it and leave it paused and let it load in the background while we're still talking, and maybe revisit it later if it's giving you some issues.
Okay, maybe that's it. Maybe I need a buffer. I don't think it's your actual video. I think I have too much stuff going on, so it may be just
Maybe. Hey Jack, are y'all working with After Effects at all? Or?
Oh yeah. I remember you were asking me about the all the software that I use, and I was letting you know that it kind of
conversation about education, and you know what, really, I still have my Black Bible on the phone, Black Bible Gamer 7. Is that your gaming name?
Who's?
I forgot I was mute. All right, yeah, no, I forgot. Remember, you said mute, so I was mute. Now, what about Black Bible? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. No, she asked the question, right?
Yeah, no, it says you've got a little lower thirds Black Bible tag right there. You can see it.
Oh, you talking about my lower third?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just added a lower third because I forgot. I thought I had it up this whole time. I forgot I didn't have it up, but you can add a lower third in Google Hangout.
Yeah. So I can tell all of us we do effects because that's actual the technical description of that label in the bottom left corner is called the lower third caption. Right.
I remember when I first started editing.
Oh.
I remember when I first started editing, it took me forever to figure out what the name was because like no one knew the name. So I was like, "What's that thing where your name comes at the bottom?" It was like. Name tag? I'm like, no, it's the thing. It's not called name tag.
Right.
When I Google name tag and video, that doesn't come up. So it's something else. And
right.
Comes up on the news and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta show y'all my demo reel, man. This stuff, man. That's cool, man. Good to talk with like-minded folks, man.
She there? She must have got kicked out again.
Oh, going back to Steven. Going back to your asking. Oh, you're there.
Having some buff.
Oh, yeah.
It may be all of us on here, and they possibly the video.
Okay, I'm just trying to play this. I can't hear anybody, so.
The good news is that we all talking tech, and you sound like a robot, so that works perfectly.
Yeah. Sound like, was it Rosie from Jetsons?
Oh yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So everybody's here talking about tech.
Hey, Jack, you were talking about After Effects.
Yeah, the tools that you were asking me about, because I kept on telling you I use a lot of tools for a lot of aspects of different. Yeah. Different things require different tools. So I do mix between, pre-production tools like Photoshop to do the initial storyboarding, or even storyboarding through After Effects, then moving on to Maya to create the three-dimensional environments. Some other situations that require going to the Mac and using programs like, Maya, everybody, is a 3D studio software. Where you create essentially it's the studio standard for that everybody uses. Then I post-produce. I also produce some raw stuff using the Mac side of software as well, After Effects and Maya as well. But I use some Mac-only tools like Quartz Composer. Quartz Composer is a real-time software, and it's dedicated to doing very, very kind of peculiar little things that other softwares can't do, and it works in a manner where you can connect nodes to other nodes. So there's no programming and no like animating. At least not to the level the common level. It's more of a real-time environment, saying that everything that you do is not pre-planned. You just plug things in and it just shows up.
That's awesome, man. Let me ask you. Oh, go ahead. What were you saying?
One of the weird things that I do is actually mix the PC and Mac world a little bit. I do use the Xbox Connect and stuff like that, but I don't use it with my PC hardware or my PC software. When I really didn't have as much as many funds to be able to produce this stuff, I ended up using an older MacBook Pro and spent a couple of months researching how to make the Kinect and OS X work together, OS 10 work together. And that was kind of a little beating, but I've been using that technology a lot in the last few projects to very, very good results, leading to very good results, producing, turning people into point clouds or sound reactive elements to use in live shows, and having dancers in live shows all of a sudden stand in front of my MacBook Pro while I'm VJing or doing stuff like that, and having the dancers actually be projected live onto a gigantic stage, you know, and it's really not too complex. It's just a matter of knowing how to make PCs and Macs understand each other through other ways, not other than digital, just like through video or through audio or through, you know, just sending post-rendered video signals just to.
Okay, hold on. I saw something on your reel, man. What are you using for the motion capture? Because I know, let's say, I know you just mentioned, like, let's say for a live performance, or what do you recommend for doing motion capture?
Depends on the level that you're looking for. If you're a single home producer or a single studio producer, because we're starting to talk about that.
Yeah,
you know, that is something that's coming out to mainstream, and I think it needs to be talked about. It's no longer studio, but in-home production.
Right.
You know, if you're a freelancer and you really cannot put your finger on being steady with many studios because you have tools that other studios really cannot approach, or you have ways that other studios, you know, you expose yourself to other studios' ways of doing things, but you have others' ways of doing things. Most freelancers have this issue. You eventually have a lot of people that have their own studio at home, and they make full-on gigantic productions just on their own.
Right,
you know?
right.
You see a lot of special thanks in the credits with all the people that were involved, but essentially it was like one or two people.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah, and so I forgot. I went a little bit out of tangent here. Forgot.
No, you were talking about some of the software for using for motion capture.
Yeah. So software, it's for stuff like the Kinect because of in-house production, in-home production, like a little home. I would say hardware, Kinect stuff, hacking stuff still is, you know, a major point of attention. It's dying off really fast, at least with the old hardware, and the new hardware really hasn't caught on so fast.
Yeah.
But what's really got the upper hand right now is still having a studio with a few professional infrared capture cameras.
Yeah.
Now, not to say that the Kinect cannot reach those levels. If you have enough Kinects, you can actually create your own, and if you have enough room, and it's just a matter of no wind, no light is going to bother it because it's all infrared, so it'll pick up depth.
Yeah.
And it'll connecting enough of them. I've seen a lot of gym centers, a lot of athlete centers just put athletes inside a room where they just stand and do this pose, and they get a complete reference of all the athletes' portions to be able to make new athlete wear just by using the Kinect.
Quick couple of questions here, and Cynthia just made a point. She said all that software sounds really expensive. Are you in like some kind of like hacker pool where you can get like free software?
I gotta say, all of these Matrix movies back in the day, like the first Matrix, okay, let's keep that clear. The first Matrix.
The good one.
Before that, all those cyberpunk movies, you know. For people that start using the internet early on, I have to say that I'm one of those, and at least I feel like I'm one of those, and I try to look underneath the rocks, really, when I go on the internet, and I really just try to find, if I can't find something, I keep on trying to gnaw off a few more keywords every few, like, try to think of new different keywords that pinpoint exactly what I'm talking about, because like, even down to using a freaking thesaurus if I have to, because I like have things where I'm like, I can't get something out of my freaking head and I need to create this. You know, so like, what is another way of saying this? And then, the concept that everybody knows is that concept that I was completely mislabeling. You know.
Okay. This picture that I have up, do you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so did you create these videos? Because I saw this one on cable the other day.
Oh no,
with the clocks on his head?
I did not create these videos. I was involved in the production of these videos.
That is super cool. That video was awesome. The one with the guy with the clocks on his head. I was like, and it was some kind of visual display platforms they had on Comcast or on AT&T Uverse. It was so neat. And it's like a whole bunch of videos they show that are just probably just really art pieces. But I thought it was super cool. So I saw that and I was like, I just had to ask. And then I want to go into Antwand. And you have to go now?
I gotta get ready to go. That's what I was gonna say. I mean, is there anything you want to
I want to go get some of your videos.
Ask me. I mean,
I'm gonna check out your site.
I wanted to play one of your videos.
Yeah.
One of your videos.
Or any one of my interviews? I mean, my recent stuff?
Yeah. I'm going to your YouTube page now.
My laptop.
Oh, yeah. I meant to ask, I was trying to ask you, what's the high game out now?
Titanfall.
I'm sorry. Yeah. What did she ask? Because I didn't hear it.
She said, what's the hottest game out right now?
Out right now or coming out, just to be clear?
She said out right now. I gotta go with Titanfall on that.
I want to say Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs. It's funny because, you know, when think Watch Dogs especially is kind of like your perfect blend of tech and gaming. So, you know, for tech people, Watch Dogs is kind of the game, you know, for techies, because it literally is a game about tech, about hacking, about smartphones and stuff like that. It's a game where everything, the entire city of Chicago is wired in, and everything, you know, everybody's kind of ID'd by the city of Chicago. There's cameras everywhere. There's, you know, Chicago is ran through computers, and you know, you have the power. You know, this one individual has the power with his phone to control basically the city of Chicago.
Right.
So, you know, that, you know, when I think of tech people and tech and gaming coming together, I think of Watch Dogs. Titanfall, you know, it's a cool game, but I tend to lean towards more third-person shooters, so there's a bit of a bias.
Okay. Watch Dogs is cool, though. Watch Dogs is definitely cool.
I gotta admit, that's definitely up there. I have to agree with Antwand, because that's definitely putting a lot of awareness on like how much technology really is surrounding you every day. You know, how vulnerable we all are. You know, that really is the spot.
I mean, it's talking about it's basically the ideal of Big Brother. So if we feel like we're under surveillance, imagine if, you know, they took it a step further and they just created a whole city that was purely under surveillance. You know, you have where, I mean, I'm not just talking about surveillance, where pretty much they can predict your actions, and that's what Watch Dogs is. It's a game that's about that type of story arc. And when you look at it, you know, it's pretty much kind of what's happening now, but of course it's not as bold and present as presented in the game. As far as the future, though, the game that I'm #1 most anticipated game for me is Arkham Knight, the new Batman game by Rocksteady.
Yeah.
I am very, very passionately waiting for that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those other Arkham games were definitely insane. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you found an interview or a video you wanted to show, but
Antwand, before anything else, I gotta say, I'm loving that gun sword you got behind you from Final Fantasy.
Oh, you talking about my gunblade?
Yeah, digging it, just digging it, man.
Yeah, like this baby, I had this for a few years. Yeah.
Haven't seen one of those in a long time, actually.
Yeah, collect them, man. I mean, I have several swords. You know, I'll show you two that I really, really like. Stalling for time, so I'll show you two because I know she wanted to like do a video. Hold up.
That's like the perfect right there.
Here's another one of my swords that I find.
Whoa!
That's what I'm talking
where'd
about.
Where'd you get that from, man? That is cool, man. That is cool.
Yeah. Gotta admit, I gotta admit, I'm geeking out here. That's pretty.
That is definitely cool. That is definitely cool.
Yeah, I mean, these are my prides. I keep them up. But that now, what's funny is one sword, the lightsaber's by Hasbro. The other sword, the Titan sword, that's by Think Geek.
Yeah.
And if you're familiar with Think Geek, it's pretty cool for tech. But
yeah, fantastic.
That is cool. That is cool. I remember when the first Final Fantasy came out.
Oh, you're talking about Final Fantasy 7 or the first Final Fantasy?
I think it was 7. I think it was 7.
We're really turning this into a Final Fantasy conversation.
I just like that sword, man. That was cool. That was cool. Yeah, no,
I gotta admit, I don't think I would have a spot to fit that gigantic sword in my house. That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
Rocket science? Hard.
Hey.
Sorry about that. If you want, I forget how you add a video.
Hey, Jack. Hey, what's your Facebook, man?
It's just like that name. Let me see. I'm gonna type it on the chat. Okay. But it's Facebook.com/Haijak, spelled Haijak, and then that's my profile, and then my page is the same with a D at the end. Haijakd.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna type it right now in the chat as well.
Okay, good deal. I'm gonna have to blaze out too in a second. In a little while. Hey Antwand, what's your website name? GamerFitNation?
Yeah, GamerFitNation.com.
Okay, gotcha.
And I forgot how to do this.
There should be an icon on the left that lets you open the chat, and then the chat should open up on the right, I believe.
Okay, good deal. Got it.
Hey, before you guys start out, I just had a couple questions I put into the chat. One had to do with simple software to expose youth to kind of get them started or get them interested. And then the other question was, what would you say to parents who feel like their youth are wasting time by playing video games? Because as an educator, I hear that all the time. I know what I tell them, but I'd like to hear what you guys who are out there really capitalizing on this industry would have to say. Thanks.
Any of
you want me to go first, or?
Yeah.
Oh, me?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right. So when I grew up, that was one of the things that, of course, you say, oh, you playing too much video games, ain't nothing's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. That is totally different now. The world has totally changed now. Video game has become a sport now. Yeah. So now, at the time where, you really think about it, had I been playing video games like I really was, I could be an athlete. Because recently, the U.S. government just recognized esports players as athletes. That has recently just happened. Yeah. And, video games have actually become a sport. You have MLG, you have esports, you have Evo. So now, guys who just did it as a hobby, who was obsessed, are now on the road becoming superstars. Some parts of it has to be cleaned up a bit, but as far as the esports and as Red Bull and everything what's going on with them, it might be very beneficial. At the same time, there is a double-sided to this, because education plays a key factor. There's a lot of things that, as much of a gamer, as much experience as you have as a gamer playing these games, you need to be educated on the very basics, fundamentals of, reading, writing, all that stuff. It plays one to the strategy of the gamer as well as to the business side. You don't really want to be a very, very good gamer who can't read a contract, especially when you're making deals. You know, that's very important. So if I was to tell a parent if their child's into it, you know, especially depending on the age, you know, there's a couple of factors. One, what type of game are they playing? They shouldn't play a game that isn't appropriate for their age. But at the same time, you know, monitor gaming. You know, maybe you can have them play it at some times, or have it where they play during the week or weekend. I'm sorry, the weekend or for a small time after work. At the same time, don't fear it, because that can potentially become something that changes their life, that could catapult them, especially now that gaming has been implemented into colleges and stuff like that, where people can develop video games and stuff. There's careers that's based off of it. So let them flourish at the same time. Show them that the importance of video games, you know, can only really tie into proper education. You have to be properly educated to have that perfect blend.
Gamification.
Gamification.
Yeah, gamification, right? Yeah.
To add to what Antwand was saying, I grew up with a very, very smart father. I have to say, my father was extremely smart. He's extremely intelligent, and he loved computers. And he's the person that introduced me to computers first. He introduced me to a Olivetti typewriter that had a screen on it, you know, and it just did the thing that, you know, Steve Wozniak does in the freaking Steve Jobs movie. You know, just the little kind of pre-MS DOS stuff. You know, that's when I first got started. You know, that's when I saw it for the first time, and I mean, that's where my parents saw a future, not really in video games, just in the act of, like, hey, getting down and, you know, doing business with computers. And I agree that does bring a lot of future. Eventually, growing up, I did start playing all these MMORPGs and really getting into it, to the point where I did spend a lot of hours, you know, dedicated to it. I have quit for the past, like, 7 years. You know, I haven't played MMOs probably for like the past 6-7 years. I do get on maybe like a StarCraft 2 every once in a while to blow some steam. You know, which is going back to what Antwand was saying. That is the sport of choice. You know, it is an official sport. StarCraft 2. It is the chess of today.
Yeah.
You know?
That's tight.
And so he would see a lot of hours spent, and I mean, I did the same with cartoons growing up. I did everything that parents never want you to do is what I did. I mean, we were Generation X. You know, we were just going on to this transition time between what everybody thought digits were going to be and what digits really made us end up doing, this digital realm. You know, and so he really, I love him to bits, to be honest. But he really saw, like, there was like a downfall in that kind of approach, and so it's been a matter of being calm about it. Gamers have been really, like, lenient, doing their own thing, wanting to, like, keep on playing, not really showing that they want to keep on playing, you know, keeping it really down low, until the point that it's gotten so big. Now all of a sudden everybody realizes everybody's doing it because everybody wants to steam off. And I mean, you got this house that you come back to every day, and it's these four walls, and you come back to your family, and you want to enjoy some time with your family, but you cannot just go to the freaking amusement park every freaking day, you know, or go to the park and stuff like that, but, you know, you can't have a picnic every day either. Essentially, you want to get down, sit down, and have fun with your family, you know, and thanks to that, a lot of things have been happening, where people have been discovering, like, they've gotten really good at solving so many complex codes, that all of a sudden it is the gamers that have finally found the cure for AIDS.
Wait, you said what?
The gamers are the ones that finally they found the cure for AIDS by deciphering certain certain proper qualities that the AIDS virus had. They got to get around those qualities. They got to get around those solving those problems and those puzzles to be able to get rid of the AIDS virus in a simulation, and they did so successfully, and apparently it does work.
That's great.
Actually, I was going to bring that up. It's funny that you brought it up. I actually have a link because we wrote an article on it about it. Because gamers cracked the AIDS enzyme. You know, they cracked the code. It took scientists years, and they still didn't crack it. It only took gamers 3 weeks. Gamers did it in 3 weeks. They cracked the code because they made a game of it. I forget. There's a famous quote. I forget exactly how it went, but they say if you take something you know, adults can make a game of it, or something you love and make a game of it. It'll make it last. It was something along the lines of make a game of it. And that's pretty much, huh?
Gamification.
Yeah. So he was cracked the AIDS enzyme by doing so, and that was a very big thing. So we are a step closer than we were. I mean, and then, you know, think about how far that went, because after that, you know, they were able to cure AIDS in the baby. So
right. That's awesome.
You know, like
games is nothing but algorithms and theory. And if you understand algorithms and theory, man, that's really, I mean, like we said, that's really what the Matrix was. It's basically telling you that everything is a set of algorithms working together, and if you can understand how all of that stuff correlates and how to really crunch and hack and really just take all of that information and break it down mathematically, you can beat the Matrix. And that's just what they did, man. That's awesome.
Apparently even mutation can be coded into algorithms, yeah. So
that's awesome. I mean, just on a I hate to go on a deep level, that's really what I know y'all may not be fans of Windows, but that's really all Bill Gates did, was find a way to make a computer function within itself using algorithms. I mean, I talk about this quite a bit about how the computer in its own sense really kind of like almost is it almost is a human brain in a sense that, you know, it's a certain set of files that work together using algorithms and working off each other just the way the human brain does. You know what I mean? It's crazy, but I mean, that's really, you know, it's deep, man. It's deep.
It's funny you mention that, Stephen, because I was talking to a nanotechnologist in Florida. Well, I was studying in Florida. Like I was a student. Like nanotechnology, me, I don't, you know, it's out of my league.
Right,
you know?
right.
So I'm into this gentleman, and we were pretty open-minded about a lot of spiritual stuff, about a lot of mind, how the mind works. And he broke it down in a way that was really interesting. He brought up a computer, like, but obviously the human mind is like the most epic computer you can find.
Absolutely,
you know? Yeah. Every mind is really the most epic computer you can find, in its own level. The intricacies, of course. Let's say that if you looked at it as a computer, not for the processing power, but where memories are stored, you know.
Right.
You know, let's say where memories are stored. You know, you have the essential happening that is that everybody has had before, where they suddenly recognize something that's happened before. You got the deja vu, right?
Right.
And the way he explained how the deja vu works, why you get the feeling of deja vu, is that your mind finds itself recognizing every position in your immediate space. Everything that you're seeing is in exactly the same position, and all the shapes, all the outlines of people, all the outline, it might not be the same people, but all the outlines of those people, all the actions that those people are taking, everything that's happening around you is in a very similar position to something that happened to you before, or something that, you know, you've dreamt about before, something like that. And so what your mind does is, instead of creating a new file, a new folder for that point in time to recognize that point in time, it just says, let me open the old one and store it right there too.
Oh,
so
yeah, that's deep.
You feel that kind of zen, you know? So you feel that zen because you're kind of feeling like you have to resort to taking a break, because you don't have to save that memory in the same in a different new spot, but in the same spot as before. It's like a breather. That's why you feel so good when you have a deja vu.
Wow, that's awesome, man. You know, The Matrix was the first movie to really touch on that. I think a new Matrix needs to come out, like something not necessarily the new Matrix, but something that kind of explores those concepts of you know, because The Matrix touched on deja vu. You know, when the cat walked forward and didn't walk back, you know, he was like, oh, it's a glitch in the Matrix. You know what I mean? And those types of things that, you know, and Morpheus was breaking down how you think you felt this way before, you're not quite sure, but some of the stuff you've experienced is real, but you can't quite put your hand on why it is that you feel that way. You know, that's that deja vu effect. I think something else needs to come out. I think Inception kind of touched on, you know, being able to go into the layers of the mind and it really kind of expand on on what's real, what's not real. The Matrix and Inception. I think another movie needs to come out to kind of like take things another step further. I think.
I agree that the Matrix really had it really close. The thing is, the way they interpret it to say it's a glitch, that way you recognize the machines, but you don't recognize the humans. You don't recognize the human aspect still. You recognize the machines because they're interpreting it as maybe when your computer chugs.
Yeah.
That's what happens. This goes to the level of like backups. Let's say you want to, your computer gets corrupted or something gets corrupted, something doesn't work, but you have a backup exactly like 1 hour ago. Luckily. Or maybe a day ago or 2 days ago to be more realistic. But let's say you got a backup of an hour ago. What the Matrix is doing is saying, well, what the Matrix does is it makes a backup every split second, so people don't notice what it does. If something is corrupted, it goes back to that split second before.
Whoa.
In that loading time, there is where people realize that there's a glitch because they can see all of a sudden, oh, I had a deja vu. No, it's just the loading time of the backup.
It's the buffer.
Sorry, but I gotta be out. I'm way past the time myself.
Yeah, no. Okay. I started thinking about that too. I'm sorry. I also spoke to.
No problem, man. Hey, man, take it easy, Antwand.
All right,
take it easy. Great talking to you.
Thanks for having me on. Have a good one.
See y'all later, man. Man, that's crazy, man.
Is Cairo Qween still around by any chance?
I was talking to somebody. There was an author. I forget her name. Oh, God, she was talking about the cosmic subconscious and how how the way George Lucas wrote all of this stuff, in Star Wars and all of this stuff that's in Star Trek that you're seeing right now. You're seeing the Star Trek communicator. You're seeing. I did a story on 50 things that Star Trek predicted that are here right now. Like they've got some guys out here building laser weapons. They've got guys out here, that have, well, obviously the Star Trek communicator is nothing but a cell phone. But the little thing they touched on their chest, that's the Bluetooth, and stuff like that. They had tablets back. I don't know if you ever watched the old Star Trek from like 1960, but they're walking around with there's like an iPad. They're walking around but they're gray, and they're like this, these gray tablets, and they're walking around, and people writing on them. I'm like, well, wait a minute, that's the iPad. I mean, it's like all of this stuff, and the lady was breaking down how basically not only does the human mind have a subconscious, but she was breaking down how the universe has a subconscious too, in a crazy kind of way. And she was like, basically, some people are able to kind of like just receive that subconscious content and just translate it and just write it down. And it was crazy, but I mean, it's some deep stuff, man. We gotta build on some stuff, man.
Have you noticed how the deep stuff, the deep stuff is always very simple to say?
Yes.
How simple is that? It's the most simple concepts, really.
Yeah.
Why is this universal consciousness is going on? Why do they have these theories of going on? Well, just look at our behavior. Look at the behavior of the solar system. Look at the behavior of the galaxy. Look at the behavior of everything around. I mean, everything's just like going crazy. So what? Don't we go crazy when we go party? Come on, isn't the universe?
Doesn't the universe do the same thing?
I mean, we go mingle to create new ideas and create our future. Hello,
Yeah. That's deep, man. That's great. Did you ever watch Battlestar Galactica?
I gotta admit, I was never a Battlestar Galactica fan. I did see like a couple episodes. I was like trying to catch on.
Man, I would tell you, man, they covered a lot of deep stuff on that too, man. Like the cosmic subconscious, and some of these songs that are actually, well, just real quick, man. Battlestar Galactica was in their time, they're like they're 100,000 years in the past, but. Some of these songs that are out right now, like Jimi Hendrix and some of this stuff, was actually streaming on the subconscious. This is one of the girls in the video in the show was able to kind of like use the notes and to make certain charts just like they do in music on a navigation they were using to try to find Earth. The concept of what we were just talking about, like the cosmic subconscious, man, is crazy. But I mean, it's just, man, it's some deep stuff out here, man.
what gets me about this thing is the age that this was put out, because, you know, I mean, 1960s.
No,
Right?
I'm talking about the new one, the new Battlestar Galactica, the one that came out about 6 years ago.
Okay, no, then I definitely never saw any of that at all.
Yeah.
Not the new one.
It was a TV show, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a TV show. It was on Sci-Fi Channel.
They air it all the time.
Okay, I'm very sci-fi geeky myself, but I haven't had, you know, the pleasure of watching Battlestar Galactica or really getting. You know,
Man, please go on Netflix, man. When you get a second, man, just watch some of it. If you watch one episode and you don't like it, you know, just, you know, trust me. But anyway, go ahead, man.
Let's see. About the cosmic consciousness, it's funny that you mentioned that.
My favorite topic.
Yeah, we were going on about this the other day as well. There's a very good point that they present, and I don't know if any of you have seen the cartoon, what do they call it? Adventure Time.
I haven't seen that.
You have not seen Adventure Time?
No, I haven't seen it.
It is by far considered one. Sorry, my apologies. I don't mean to be like shouting at you guys. It's by far one of the best cartoons put out there for the education of children and for the education of adults.
Wow, that's cool.
Adventure Town.
Time.
Okay.
The concepts in those cartoons are so mind-blowing for adults as well, that you cannot keep an adult away from this cartoon.
Wow.
And I mean, let's say one of the characters, it's all about the boys are heroes and the girls are princesses.
Yeah.
Genius, you know.
Basic, yeah.
So and all the girls can be heroines as well. So they're all here. There's girl heroes as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's a children's show. You know where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Let's say that the main character really wants to stand out with the main female character, and she's having a show and tell, and she's a scientist. She loves science. She does her little, you know, science stuff, and but really cool science stuff, I must add. And so he finds himself in a bit of a predicament. The other main character tries to help him out. They go to find some tools, and they come up with some special glasses that let them become the smartest person in the universe, and everywhere, you know. So I just love this example because this explains the entire series completely. That's just like the power behind this. Yeah. And so to impress the princess, he wears the glasses and tries to become smart, you know. And smart is not his thing. His thing is to be a hero.
Yeah.
So eventually, in the show and tell presentation, the princess wants to make a presentation about heroes, and he comes in as a nerd, really. Well, he slips on the glasses, and as soon as he slips on these glasses, he becomes such a fantastic nerd, such a crazy nerd, that he starts seeing into, you know, like far distances in the cosmos. He starts seeing outside of the solar system, outside of the galaxy, outside of the universe. So far that he zooms out of his own forehead again.
Whoa.
Yes.
That's crazy, man. What's it called? Adventure Time?
Yes. And he becomes.
I'll look that up, man.
He zooms out of his own forehead again, only to turn around to his friend and say, "Oh my God, everything big is just a version of something small."
That's crazy, man.
And that's, kids watch this, and adults watch this more. I mean, they online they have charts of records of audience with this show, because they're like, how many people watch it? It's even on Wikipedia. It's like, how many people watch the show during the initial airing? It's like 2 million or 3 million, 50 million. It's a crazy thing, you know. And the concepts are insane.
That is crazy.
I could go on a little bit. If you want to listen to a bit more, please tell me, because I could really go on, but I don't really want to drag this into.
I'd love to keep building with you, man. I gotta run. I got a bicycle group that I'm part of, man. We ride through downtown, and we about to crank up in a little while, man. Man, John, man. I mean, dude, man.
It's really nice meeting you.
We gotta build. Hijack, man. You good in my book, my bro.
You good in my man.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, post your Facebook link, and I'm gonna support your work online, man.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Same here.
And also, I got a television network. I want to talk with you about, and I probably, we're gonna be doing events, so also want to utilize some of your special effects for some of these live events we got going on. We got hackathons coming. I've got like a live event. I would like to do like a huge launch of the network and just have you come up there, man, and just turn the whole place out, with all your effects.
Absolutely. I would love to come around and help out with any kind of like hackathon environment and stuff.
Yeah.
And actually come around and be like, you see all this hacking that's happening? I don't know how to code anything.
Yeah.
and just be like, all you coders, you are the amazing people because all this stuff that's so cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, it's time consuming, man. It's like you gotta love it, man. I just tell people, I'm like, it's cool. The final product is cool, but the process is it's brutal, man. It's brutal.
All thanks to them. It's all thanks to them, man.
Yeah. So, but man, good network, man. Good building with you, man. I'm gonna support you online, man. And hey, Cairo, thanks for having me, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right, Steve-O, or I can't call you Brownie on camera, can I? Steve Brown, Digital Afro.
All right. Hey, Cynthia, take it easy now.
Yeah, you too.
All right, see y'all later.
Thank you so much, Steve. Don't forget tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. You have to do The Future Is Now.
Future Is Now. Yes, indeed. See you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, y'all.
Thanks,
Take
Steve.
it easy. All right, now. See ya.
Well, everybody, it's about 10:06 on our end. And what I do know is that I have had an awesome dialogue, which I think I still want to keep going into, but I'm not sure if anybody else does. I missed a lot of stuff because I'm having technical difficulties on my side, but again, this is Face to Face. I'm Cairo Qween, and we've had some really great guests. We had Antwand Pearlman from GamerFitNation, GamerFitNation.com. Check him out. He's in New York, but he's going to be doing some things. I don't even think he plugged his event, but we'll get him again. That was fun, and I enjoyed having him on. That, of course, was Steve Brown, Digital Afro, digitalafro.com. And we're still sitting here with the wonderfully intelligent, my sidekick almost, Cynthia Frazier from Tech Divas Uncorked. And I'm going to let you name off all the other ones because I remember that one. Girls Got Geeked. And Haijak Haijak from Haijak. So the spectacularly talented, extremely gifted, excessively humble, I can't even say what he is because he's just super talented. You just have to see it. I wanted to ask you really quick though. The guy that freeze frame that I had it on, the guy that does that thing. And you had like 3 different versions. What is that?
That is one of the 3D captures of myself, really. Just acting like a dork.
Oh.
Essentially just dancing in front of this Microsoft Kinect to make the a 3D point cloud that is sound reactive, and I put it into the music video through post-production, essentially.
So Microsoft Kinect is how you do that. That is super neat. That would actually be a good display for Microsoft when we do our Microsoft show. So I have to patch you in one day, and we could talk about that in Microsoft.
Remember that. This is all working through. We're going to have to find a way to not show that this is not Windows.
Oh, right. Right. That.
I somehow managed this perfect for the hackathon, but I'm definitely showing the Kinect and what it can do, and maybe I can do some tricks. Maybe I can have like a window open maybe that's a picture of Windows,
Right.
Switch over to the Mac side. Now I know this is going public. I hope nobody takes this too. I love Windows and Apple, and I love Microsoft and Apple. But come on, like I do this does not work that way, and I got it working in this little hack. So I don't know if it's gonna work out there, but we can try.
Well, what's cool? We're all tech reviewer, so you know it's a cool thing to be able to take a product and take it beyond its original purpose. I think that helps the developers when they're trying to create new products to say, okay, well, maybe we should branch out in this direction. And without people like you, they would never know they can do that with something that they completely constructed to stay in one box. You know, I think that's awesome.
I definitely agree with you that it was a dream that Steve Jobs had initially, where it's not really like two companies. Well, not initially, eventually, let's say. But it's not about two companies fighting each other, but like one kind of like creating something, one creating another, both of them innovating to make it really all thrive together. You know. I'm not sure if you're understanding what I'm saying.
Yeah, to make it all work together like a transformer.
No. I mean, like, to make the industry as a whole thrive. I mean, like, to make the industry as a whole thrive, you can't really be concentrating on competing with each other. You each have to worry on creating your own things, your own aspect of things, and letting those things then work with each other. You know, people finding ways to make those things work with each other. That's the thing that really pushes this industry more than anything. And
so do you remember in Transformers 2, The Rise of the Fallen, how, I don't know if you saw that, but Optimus Prime, at the end, he had to connect with the old guy, I can't remember his name, the old guy Transformer, in order for him to become the super powerful and then be able to take the Allspark and embed it in his system and become like Super Optimus Prime. So all the parts had to connect together in order to work together for the good.
Essentially, and this is a really competitive industry, and if we're not working for a common good and a common goal, you know, as in, you know, just has nothing to do with what the actual devices do, but mostly making all technology be an extension of who we are, you know.
Oh wow.
If we go ahead and really put ourselves to that, you know, then there's nothing you can't do. That's one thing. That's definitely what I learned by firstly and by initially doing this whole thing, this whole little teeny tiny hack. It took me 2 months of barely eating because I was so dedicated to this freaking project. And it was for no one else. It was for no one else other than myself. I really wasn't doing this for any freaking client or anything. And I just said, I really want to do this, you know. And it took me so long to figure that out. That, you know, it's really the most gratifying thing that I have today, and it is the one thing that to me keeps pushing me every day. You know, just the fact that you could balance something out just because you dedicate yourself not to like use something, but to listen to it. You know, to listen.
Well, okay. So for people, and they're out there, the people who are going to say, well, we don't want to connect to technology. We're humans. That needs to stay over there. What do you say to that?
Cool.
Choose your own.
I agree. Technology needs to stay over there, and I'm going to stay over here, which means what I'm trying to say is I don't really want technology integrated into myself. And that's the feeling that most people have, that they're just become this symbiote with technology because they're going to become dependent. Hell, we're all dependent on this freaking thing. You know, and what is this? It's just a tile. It's a slab. It's a brick. You know, initially, if you take good care of it, it's not a brick, duh, and stuff like that. But they don't want the brick to handle their freaking life, you know. And I agree. And I've been looking at some videos online lately about, you know, this whole aspect of life, and really we are becoming very antisocial in our social forms. We're being social online, but we're not being social outside. We're like getting afraid of leaving the house. We're getting afraid of doing many things, you know. I order food a little more often than I should, you know, instead of going out to have dinner.
You know, it's funny that you say that. That was like the point in me creating this platform, because I spend so much time on social media doing advertising and things like that. I just realized I have like almost 5,000 friends in one page, and then I have hundreds of thousands of others I'm connected to all over social media, and that's just on Facebook, you know. But I don't even know these people, so I said, okay, well, why don't we do something Facebook face-to-face, and all the people who I don't know I can now see face-to-face and try to associate a face with the dialogues I've been having for like 6 years.
That would be a very big festival.
Well, here we are.
That would be a very big festival. If we, like this at this level, that's perfect. At this level, that's perfect. But if we got them all together at the same time, that would be a pretty big festival.
I thought it would be a huge idea. Like, I thought if we could take all the people that I knew on Facebook and maybe just, and actually, I still plan on doing this. I'm just going to have to try to figure out how to get some different satellites in different places to join me. But I figured, you know, with the platforms that we have, we should be able to do things like that and just all have big networking events and come and get on video and say, hey, I know you, you know.
You know, it's funny you mention that. I have had this idea before as well. Not to mention it. Can you elaborate more on this? I mean, it sounds super interesting. Like, it sounds more like having multiple video chats open at the same time, kind of like how Google Hangouts is. You know,
Exactly that.
on the scale of hundreds of people, and finding a way to manage those hundreds of people without everybody talking at the same time, I guess.
Oh, wow.
So maybe the first online conference.
Well, we do online conferences now. In
No,
fact, Cynthia and I were trying to plan one out now. We
I mean a
we have
global
virtual
conference,
conferences.
like a proper online UN conference.
Oh, that's hot.
You know?
So what I thought about doing is like, because I still organize events, and so to create a massive networking group, I can actually probably do this with all the Microsoft stores now that I'm thinking about it, and just have people go to Microsoft all at the same time, and they videotape from Microsoft, and we have one big conjunctive party where we have a taste of technology around the world at Microsoft. So people could have food and drinks, and we could have cameras live, and people could communicate to each other, and people go, you know, hi, this is Lakshmi from India, you know, somewhere in India. And I'll be like, hey, Lakshmi, I'm here in Atlanta in the USA, you know, something like that. You know, and it be that Facebook collaboration and how to build a huger, a bigger network, you know, just by networking events, but networking incorporating the digital space. So while we network in person, we can also network online at the same time. I think that was cool. So.
I agree. It's funny you mentioned that. There's these concepts. I'm going to put it up here in the chat right now. It's called Dreamcatcher.net. A few friends of mine make this, put this together, and it's a fantastic concept. And I think it can be applied to social media. Now, this Dreamcatcher.net is what I'm talking about. And Dreamcatcher.net, what it is a social medium. Not really a social medium. Let's say it's a journal medium where you go and write your journals specifically about your dreams. And I think that what this does with your dreams, let's say you keep on writing all about your dreams, and eventually, once you've gotten all that energy out, all that information out, you can look back and see your dream, you know, and then think upon it, and then you can comment upon your dream, and as you can go deciphering it. Thing is, you collect a lot of people's dreams. You can actually start seeing if you can like correlate those dreams, you know, of multiple people, of thousands of people, you know, and that's just it's still in concept. It's still very young. I don't want to talk more about it because they really have a lot of that in wraps. I really do want to leave it ambiguous. I do want to leave it a little confusing, and I will kind of be I will be more detailed with a different subject right now to explain it. But Dreamcatcher.net, you know, I'm putting it out there because it's a really big project and it's really, really powerful. And I don't want to explain too much about it because it's mostly a discovery process as you go. But breaking apart from that, let's say Twitter. Let's talk about Twitter for a minute, because I mean you can encompass everything that's going around on planet Earth. You know, if you with Twitter every split second, all of a sudden you got this flood of people, and you see the world maps, the heat maps, and they're just like the entire planet isn't on this, and the only place that you can't see is involved in this whole thing is freaking the Sahara Desert, like deep in the Sahara Desert, you know, kind of stuff. So what would happen if you grabbed all the information on Twitter and made a daily global sentence about what everybody in the world was thinking.
Oh my gosh.
Through cloud
It's like a
sourcing,
power move.
all those words put together to make up just one sentence. And I mean, you can have various sentences, various approaches, but what kind of information would we be giving about who we are in the world if those sentences as well were assigned to specific topics, to certain topics, like isolating those? If you have a word that already appears in a sentence, it cannot appear in another sentence. You know, if you have a topic that appears in one sentence, it cannot appear in another sentence, so that you can visit the next topic that the entire planet is worried about.
That is so deep. Like, I never even thought about that, actually utilizing. Well, you know what, though? On the flip side, I say this all the time to the Urban Tech Fair, utilizing social media to create some type of real change. You know, I mean, the same.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Well, you see, that can be, what we could get with that is, you know, it wouldn't be really a change, but it would definitely be a source of information to make us aware of something, you know. But it still would not change that much. The real change is in that website I told you, dreamcatcher.net. Dreamcatcher.net. Because those kids, I don't know if it's still functioning. It might have been a project that's already, you know, been finished. But I swear to God, Dreamcatcher.net, those kids have the concept of being able to translate dreams into what the Earth is really telling you, what the entire consciousness is really telling you. It's a crowdsourcing dreams, not just whatever the world's got to say for something that's going on in the world at that time. Like no opinions, no comments, no. It's about raw information coming from a completely different realm of source. You know, a source of information that is not here in this realm that you and me share, but in the realm that we visit when we're asleep or when we are conscious. Sourcing that information, what they're trying to do and what they've actually been able to do in some situations is predict certain things happening. Very, very small, very kind of like, but very kind of, very kind of out of this world kind of things. But being able to, let's say, what would happen if you could correlate all the words that everything that you see in your dreams? What would happen if you could correlate that into word clouds, then make sentences, and then what would happen if you could match up those sentences, you know, to the world and see what happens in the world, you know?
You know, there was excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, that was it.
No, there was a TV show. It was called Touch, and it was about this. I actually used to do, well, I can still do dream interpretations, but I did dream interpretation, so this is something that's actually relevant to me. But yeah, you can do, and you can find out things that are going on within the conscious and subconscious level of mankind, and in timely manners. Very interesting. That's huge, because in Touch, what they were seeking was a pattern that was made by the Fibonacci code that had already been placed into our society. And so the Fibonacci code, mathematic equation, look it up, everybody. So Fibonacci code is the sequence by which you'll see things like the iris of your eye and the pattern that it actually consistently goes in and out, and then things like mirror reflections, how they never end and they'll consistently keep going, this rippling effect, the inside of a seashell that spins over and over again and kind of never disappears.
The mathematical equation of life, but then the mutation of it through like the fractal of life. You know, where things just like fractal out. I mean, I've surrounded myself with the people that talk about this stuff all the time. So I mean,
I've never found people that talk about it. I study that kind of stuff, but I just never. Whenever I used to talking about it to people, they look at me with this like dumbfounded look, like, huh? I'm now finding more people that are into it, but before it was like that's why I always call myself nerdy, because there are things that I used to study and everybody would call me nuts, and I was like, yeah, but it's real. No, it's crazy. So
one thing was predicted, that the geek will inherit the universe. The geek will at least inherit the world.
Hey.
I want to call you
Go
guys.
Geeks!
Yeah, go Geeks. I want to call you guys' attention to Momo's, because Momo started, I actually became an official chapter leader. Um, everything is a couple of years ago. But anyway, Mobile Monday is an organization out in, I want to say, Switzerland, but the gentleman that signed me up is Japanese. So every Monday around the world, there is a discussion about mobile commerce. That's how I ended up starting the Mobile Commerce Digital Technology Alliance, Cairo, because I really took a strong interest in the mobile world and wanted to connect with other people, and discovered this Mobile Monday group that tried to do what you guys are talking about in terms of, having people on topic all around the world at this specific time, not through streaming or digital media, but at least in their own little pocket of the world. So I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, Jack, I have to say, come on out here to the east side.
All you gotta do is say please, and I'm there.
Oh, I love that. It's
Trying
so
to
nice.
get folks, interested out here is just it's a whole different discussion. But yeah, we'll talk about Momo's Cairo, because it's a fascinating group of people.
Cynthia, when I tell you that when I believe truly that Jack has the way to get people really engaged socially, and I meant to talk about this earlier with the Ultra Music Fest in Miami that he's actually participated in, but to look and make people understand. I talk about EDM music a lot, and people don't understand why, because I used to work in jazz. So they're like, where'd you jump from jazz to EDM? Well, I studied music, so I actually studied sound. And so to understand, repetitious patterns and beats that people have heard over and over again, because repetition is the mother of all learning, that these are patterns by which people are actually consciously and unconsciously being conditioned. And so I think the message about technology should come via a pattern of EDM music, in addition to the fact that he works with lights. And so lights also condition the mind. And so I was sitting here thinking, like, he has this fantastic platform, and I don't want to say it here because I want him to have this tour of what we were talking about yesterday, but I'll tell you, like, on the flip side, he needs to do a 10-state tour. Was it a 10-state tour? Yes. The 10-state tour that he could do could probably revolutionize the way everybody sees technology. And I mean that so sincerely, because when he told me about creating this space, and I can't say it without saying it, so I won't, but it's just something that he's able to do and could totally change the whole entire atmosphere of the way parties are done, and the way events are done, and the way fun is done. He needs to have that 10-state tour, because people need to see that. I visually conceptualized it, but I can imagine people who are so far beyond not thinking about technology to actually just see him do this. It would blow their minds. And I literally have gone into the mode of trying to figure out how I can get him here to try to do something like that. And I'm thinking, where are my sponsors at? And I know we are the second party capital that I know of in the South. So I think to come here, I just need to find the right promoters and to get him the $10,000, $12,000 in order to put this thing together, because I know it would make a ton of money. I know it would make a ton of money, because he actually manages those stages at the Ultra music festivals. And so, and speaking of that, can you harp on that for a moment?
You mean like?
Oh my God, I'm having a brain malfunction. Yes.
Well, I don't really manage the stages per se. If I'm involved with Ultra, I haven't really been involved with Ultra for since 2010, 11. So we can hang on to that. I have been involved with other events, other festivals, and I have had to be involved with stage production as well. And in terms of stage production, my hand in it, mostly if I've had to create a lot of content, usually I have to dedicate to the content. And my hand in it is make sure that the stage fits the content, and then the content fits the stage to the T, or else the illusion will fail. And I mean, so I have to be careful to make a plan about this, make sure that the stage has been conceptualized and spread to everybody in the team so that they can see that they have certain parameters they need to stick to. And recreating that, or initially creating that in a 3D model, and sticking to that model, modifying it as much as we can to meet the final concept we want. But really have to do that fast, because the main production of the stage eventually is what takes more time. And then once that's fully put together, if it's put together correctly, all the projections, which are, like I told you, 2-dimensional projections, not really 3-dimensional projections, they're 2-dimensional projectors. If they fall onto the surfaces correctly, and then they're matched up correctly, and the illusion of transferring the virtual world to the real world is done correctly, the environment becomes alive, and you don't have a stage anymore, but you have a different planet, a different island.
Oh, I love it.
Location, you have a different location entirely, and depending on how the content falls into it, like if you have Amazon jungle, if you have outer space, if you have this, if you have that, if you have a digital realm, if you have a desert, depending on how you use the shapes on the stage, on how the stage has been made, depending on how you have foreseen things happening, and how you've created the content to the things that you've foreseen, and how you play with the structures that make up the stage, you can create some crazy illusions that people all of a sudden feel like they're right there. And I mean, I'm talking about right there, like, holy crap, how did we get to the desert, or how did we get to the castle in the movie Aladdin, all of a sudden, in the Arabian Nights, and how did this happen? And you're stuck in this Arabian Nights kind of scenery because of the ambience of the music. And whenever the music kicks in, I gotta be honest, whenever the music kicks in, depending on how the music is, I always try to find something that kind of, to me, fits that feel of the music.
You know what I want? And I will tell you right now, I want to have Egyptian pyramids, Cairo Qween, Egyptian pyramids, and then I want to get on spaceships and go into outer space. That would be so hot, and I'm so excited about that. I was dreaming about it last night. I was like, I want that to happen.
It's funny you mentioned that. Tell you what, I'm going to keep on saying weird things. It's funny you mentioned that, because I have a personal project that I had been working on that told the entire story of the history of the Earth from a very completely different standpoint, But it had to do. I know this this group of DJs. They're called the Glitch Mob. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're pretty famous out here in the West Coast. They're spreading pretty big around the world. They're known as the Glitch Mob. They do glitch hop, and they just brought out a new album, very interesting album. And so it got me really inspired, and I started creating this kind of environment with 3 pyramids, a few other pyramids as well, but the 3 main pyramids were where the DJs were going to be sitting, in each pyramid. And then this was all like projection maps, and I have all this done in 3 dimensions. It's all prepared to be turned into an actual production. This is my personal project that I started, and it's just like fitting with everything you guys say. And I mean, it evolves with like a ton of different kind of, because the tracks evolved, and you got different kind of backgrounds, different kind of formations. So these pyramids, essentially, back in the day, were the technological advancement of science of that civilization that made them, and the tops of them, they are actual spaceships, and you end up shooting out into outer space, the entire environment into outer space. And the whole concept behind this is we are we are all one. I had tons of friends that are all behind the we are all one kind of attitude, and which is to me is true. And so the mathematical equation that these guys were using to travel across the space was just like being able to modify that 1 + 1 is not equal to 2, but 1 + 1 is 3 because they're 3 DJs. Get it? So because 1 + 1 is 3, and they modify they with their tools get to modify how the universe works. That's how they get to travel great distances across the universe. And they pop out of the universe, pop out of this fast travel by making their own spaceships, their own physics of their spaceships understand once again that 1 + 1 is actually 2, not 3. I don't know. It was really convoluted. It's really crazy.
No, it's not. Don't get me started. I'd have to explain the whole Cairo Qween thing to you for you to understand that there was a reason why I was saying connect the pyramids with spaceships. And the whole reason why I'm really in this tech space, I get you. I get you totally. I understand that. That's awesome.
I'm really glad that you brought that up because this is really, I would really like to see this project come up. I really like to see this project flourish because it's got a lot of potential. The shapes are very, very primitive, very basic, and can all of a sudden be turned into the craziest thing you can think of, all with very, very, in little time and very effectively.
Could you make that into a museum tour?
Yes.
Because that sounds sellable.
As long as you have it in mind, you ask me if we can do it, I will probably tell you yes. Anything you want to put out there, if we can turn it in, if we can project on it, we can do crazy shit with it. Pardon my French.
That's totally okay. It's a Google Hangout. Oh wow! Yeah. Like, when I tell you I was dreaming about this last night, and when I talked to Steve about it today, Steve was like, he could do what? And I was like, yes. I was like, that's what I need. I need that. I need that. Because that's what I need. That's what I need. I need to make that happen. I'm going to find some promoter to pay for that and get it going to at least do one, because I just want to see it. And then I know it could tour. I know that would be a good tour.
The Museum of Light.
Now they did. I did an actual at Christmas, the Christmas time. I did this article that I wrote about this thing called the Global. I don't even remember what it was called. Global Christmas something, but it's on something that I wrote it on. But I'll share it later. But I took all these pictures because they had these like blown up. What's that parachute material, rayon, and they put these lights inside of all these different figures from around the world. Of course, there are pyramids and things. There are different, major structures that are identifiable by everybody. But yeah, I think that could be bananas. Like, people love lights.
I agree. It's funny you mentioned the. I keep on saying it's funny that you mentioned things. It must be that we really connect. It's like I gotta add that the whole museum idea is definitely the way to go, because I would like people I would like people to get the concept of the hologram and how to get the hologram and the advancements in holography and why it's so hard and stuff like that. Giving examples of different ways of making holograms, and the one way that I know for sure how to make a hologram, the one that I know works, that I've at least studied enough. It's not the typical oh, here's a piece of paper with a hologram inside it and you can see it moving around. No, that's like the Visa card kind of shit. I mean, everybody knows that. I'm talking about you grab 2 or 3 or 4 projectors and you aim them onto a center. You aim their casting beams towards each other. Like each casting beam crosses the other casting beams, of light. And then where all these lights intersect, you put a column of smoke or a column of vapor, a column of event fog, just like a fog effect.
Dry ice, yeah.
Or dry ice, just as long as that fog rises to be able to see an image, So what you do is you have the same three-dimensional object, for example, being fed to each projector, but each projector receives a little bit of a different angle from that 3D object. And when these projectors cast onto the fog, each side of that 3D object will be casted onto the fog, making an entire three-dimensional object holographically.
Oh, wow. Have you done that before, or is that like an experiment?
I've seen it done plenty of times. That's the simple way to do it. I haven't really done it myself because I do have the number of projectors needed to do this. I do have all the gear needed to do this, except for maybe the fog machine and stuff like that. And I didn't really invest the time to do it. You know? But I do know, like, if you search this on YouTube, a lot of people have done it. And then the other forms of doing holograms is just having a flat screen that is showing a certain amount of pixels, but that flat screen then starts rotating like crazy. So every time, per revolution, it'll show a different amount of pixels to make up an entire three-dimensional image.
So, like, I wonder if you could put it on fog, could you put it on fire, like in a bonfire?
No, fire itself does emit light too, so.
Okay.
Now you could put it on the smoke above the bonfire, but it would be a little tricky.
Yeah, that would be.
What I've always wanted to do is maybe get a blimp or a zeppelin, you know, and fly it around events where there's a lot of dust out, you know, like a desert event or something like that, and then tie projectors to the bottom of this blimp and use the dust of the event to create holograms and make like all sorts of creatures come out of the sand dunes and stuff like that.
So are these laser projections? Because I'm trying to think. There's a place that I visualized you doing this literally, and I know how to get access to it. So I'm just trying to think, like, if this is possible, then it can be done outdoors, right?
Oh yeah, no, that's the approach. The thing is, I would probably at night, outdoors at night, is when it would, because the sun's rays are just too powerful, you know. But it requires a lot of work and a lot of research and development that I would definitely be super happy to do all this R&D work and find friends to do it with as well. But it does require a lot of time. We could be talking about a couple, maybe not months because I'm not that familiar with it, but definitely maybe like a year to produce a really high quality, to get really familiar, really familiar to holograms. At least where I would feel comfortable to be able to deliver to the public, if I'm familiar enough with it. I mean, my actual skill set, I had to really hone it to be comfortable with it before I actually put it out to the public. You know, I had to do like really small gigs before I got the chance to pursue corporate kind of level stuff. So
okay.
We would require to research that a little bit, or get projectors that already have that kind of holographic kind of tech in it. I'm just saying.
So yeah? Will you be better to stay indoors for right now?
It's a matter of it's a matter of space. It's a matter of resources. Being able to do something like that. I think we would rather want an indoor art installation, or something like that, to be able to fully harness the entire power of that, because something like what I mentioned is more far-fetched and more towards the lines of it's the typical entertainment engine for elite class, you know, events, but it is still already become some form of mainstream in some form, you know, and that's not where we're at right now.
So an empty warehouse, though,
mm-hmm.
I could have 3D projections all over the empty warehouse, and you can cultivate this vision of yours inside of an empty, dark warehouse space.
Oh yeah, and so many other visions, depending on how much room is in the empty warehouse space. I think that if you would really want to make a holographic installation, to get the concept, people around it, if it is a stage, you will try to go big. But if not, if it's a small installation in the museum, you would, like I said, you would rather go small. Yeah, you would rather try to go like a size where, for example, if this is the size of it, a normal human being would be about that scale, you know, instead of an entire warehouse. But you could still use the warehouse to present a lot more artwork. I'm just saying this is a complex kind of thing, and still very, very young. So it might require a lot of gear. It might require a lot of gear that is extremely heavy to create columns of dust or columns of smoke inside a warehouse, you know, I could be completely wrong. I'm just not super familiar with it. And what I do know is getting those projections to really align themselves and making it work. I would say a few months of research before I could really grasp that myself. You know.
Okay, because here's the idea. I'm not going to tell you, Ron, here, because we're on video. I'll tell you, because I had a talk with, I don't know who I was talking to earlier, and they mentioned the word crowdfunding, and then something you said to me yesterday clicked, and I was like, yes, because that can get crowdfunded, and I know it can, and that would be super hot.
It was, oh gosh, it was, we were talking about Microsoft. And we were talking about, no?
That wasn't it. You said, I'll make a commercial for you, and I was like,
oh, that.
And I said, make a commercial for you, and then I thought about it, I was like, oh, but you could make a commercial for me, and I could use that because nobody else would have a commercial like the one you would have, and I guarantee you that commercial would get me some money.
we could take it to some crazy levels, I gotta admit. We could what we were talking about is mostly using projection mapping and stuff like that to inside the actual ad, not as to create the ad, you know, like not to present the ad, but inside the ad itself to be able to like do some crazy things like present the future, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
That could be so great.
That absolutely, you know, and that really does not, if that's not warehouse scale, that really does not require that much space. That we can really rig something up, you know.
Jack, I gotta add you to my new best friends list because I have to talk to you every day. You have literally boosted my whole entire energy level to like infinite, and I'm so excited about. I'm so glad that I met you. When I tell you I love technology, and you literally have become the new love of my life, I'm like, I love this. It's so exciting.
You're too kind. Thank you so much.
My brain has gone like 400 different degrees all around the galaxy and back while we were on here talking. And I know Cynthia's probably sitting there laughing at me like, oh my God.
I gotta admit, I've learned a lot with you and Cynthia as well, and with everybody else in this chat. I have really gotten to learn a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm having a ball here. Just going and looking at all these things, like while you guys are talking about them, I'm like on Google, on YouTube. You know, I'm looking at a video now on how to make a hologram from your smartphone. I mean, just like, yeah.
Wow.
It's getting crazy. It's getting crazy.
Hologram hackathon coming soon.
That's why I'm defending the whole thing of it can be easy, but to get it right, to get it really, really sharp like you want for a corporate client, you really have to dedicate a good amount of time. Maybe I was exaggerating with the 1 year thing because I'm like, my gosh, you know, the whole cell phone projected thing, you know, just threw me off guard there for a minute. I'm used to like the Pico projectors that you have to add to the phone, not the phone already having it, and you just blew me away there for a little bit. And so it could be closer than we think, yeah.
Well, and just keep in mind too that my interest is in inspiring young people, so I'm not necessarily interested in hands-on doing all this stuff or some of these things personally, but you know, when it comes to inspiring the next generation of youth out there to really go beyond consumption, Cairo and I are always on the same page with that piece. You know, it's important that they get exposed to it, even at a small level. It may not be ready for, you know, a corporate client, but to pique their interest and to challenge them in a way that they're not being challenged in school or at home or, you know, typically any of the other environments they find themselves in. We have to do that for them. And that's what you're doing for me. I know you're doing that for Cairo because she's like, yeah. So then I can take that and inspire, you know, these 6 boys and a dog that hang out in my house every day while school is out to, hey, have you thought about this, or check this out? And sometimes it's just as simple as showing them a YouTube video, and the next thing you know, they're off and running. So it's really, really cool.
I'm glad that I can, like, it's essentially my pet peeve, my dream, to just everything I know, to just never hold it in, never like reserve it for myself, but just to keep on blurting it out and letting people just keep on knowing it and knowing it and knowing it, because I think it's just selfish to keep it to myself, It just feels that way, And I do try to. I do see a lot of people that always are super inspired by some of the stuff that's been put out by other visual artists, and I'm superbly inspired by so many other visual artists that are 1,000 times better than me, and they come up to me and they say that I do crazy stuff, and I just look at their stuff and they're like, are you kidding me? Your stuff is like the most incredible stuff I've ever seen in my life, And younger generations, what they need to know is that with the tools that we have now, you got everything you need to become everything that you want. And the way to get there is not to worry about getting there. Just do what you want to do. Have fun doing what you want to do. And all of a sudden you will be there without even knowing it. And that's what kids have to learn. It's just not to like worry about being there, not to worry about getting there. Just do it. And all of a sudden you will be there.
Wait. Speaking of that, I know that it is now 10:50, and the last time I checked it was like 10:06, right? I have to get off here because I did commit to do 2 hours of coding for 15 days and another 15 on robotics. So I have to get off here. I could stay on here probably till tomorrow, but I had such a good time talking to you. I love this. Yeah, you can tell by the pitch of my voice, but I'm so excited. I am so grateful to you for coming on here. You have to come on and be a part of the usual suspects that come on. Cynthia, you are always wonderful, and I'm so glad that you're my friend and my cyber sister, and I am just so elated right now. I'm in like a whole nother dimension. Seriously, my brain has gone really wild just thinking about this stuff, so I'm super excited, and I'm most grateful, humbly grateful for both of you being here. And Antwand Pearlman from GamerFitNation. I'm also excited that Steve joined us. Steve was so excited he couldn't stop asking you questions, so that worked out so well, and we got a lot of information. I think we actually have some futuristic things that are going to happen here, so the future is now as usual. So just to tie up, do you have anything that you'd like to say, share, plug, websites, locations, events, movies you're working on, anything like that you want to plug, Jack?
Just keep up with me on Twitter, and I'll keep posting stuff, and on Facebook. That's about it. Just facebook.com/hijacked. That is HAIJAKD. Hijacked.
So that is missing the C and missing the E. So HAIJAKD. That's on Twitter. And then he's Hijack. And he's Jack on Facebook. So Hijack Art In Motion on Facebook. So yes, find him, look him up. He is bananas. Hire him. So,
and yeah. I gotta say something about you. I admire about you both. I admire how incredibly intelligent you are, both of you. I mean, I don't know how to code worth for squat. I can't get through. I can't get it. I mean, and I'm the son of a linguist. It's like languages should be simple for me, but they're not. And I gotta say, if you both admire what I do so much, I gotta say I really admire who you both are. You're both extremely talented. I've learned, especially some of the things that you mentioned, Cynthia, earlier about getting homework through to the kids and making a game experience, the learning experience being a gaming experience and stuff like that. You're both, regardless of what you have to say about me, you're both extremely talented. You're both extremely I admire you both. You're extremely admirable, and I
Thank you.
really
Thank
honored
you very much.
to be here, and I've really had a fantastic.
Awesome. Awesome. And I have somebody here who wants to say hi. Oh, now he's running.
Is he
He tried
shy?
to, yeah, he tried to peek in before because he's been off and on listening in and out. He's kind of new to the whole
Hi.
hangout thing. So he ran though when I tried to put the camera on him. But thank you so much for those kind words. Yeah, it's definitely mutual, and I'm already following. So I look forward to keeping the conversation going on social media. And Cairo, I love you, girl. You're my new bestie, and she and I I don't know what it was. We just clicked, and it's been really awesome hanging out. I love it.
I really love you guys. This has been great. I really appreciate the time that you spend with me doing this and us getting this message out, because again, it is imperative that the United States of America gets the message, and whether it come by me or it come by somebody else, I think that it's a great thing that we're doing this. And I just love the fact that I know all these exceptionally talented people, and we're able to, showcase to the rest of the world. So, I mean, as I still battle with Google Hangouts, luckily I'll be going to a new platform pretty soon. I'll still be doing a Google Hangout every now and then, but I'll probably do it less likely on every Monday. It'll probably be in between the shows from Microsoft. But yeah, I mean, we still have the Blog Talk, and Jack and Cynthia, I need to schedule both of you for my Blog Talk show, and that would be great if I could have you on. This is just great. I'm excited. So I'm thankful to you. And Cynthia, do you have any plugs you want to give for all of your organizations and companies?
Yeah, well, let me just explain, because I know that sounds daunting, but I just have different properties or brands that I work under depending on the age. But it's basically all the same, and that is educating the community on the productivity side of what technology can do. So, yeah, just hang out with us on Google Hangouts, or check me out on Facebook, Cynthia Renee Frazier, and locally, I'm out in the Inland Empire and would love to have any support that's out there. Maybe we can do that, Cairo. We'll start some kind of Twitter hangout or something to attract some local folks to get them involved. I saw you post about Silicon Valley in your hand or in your pocket, or whatever that
was
on your
Steve's
person.
quote. Yeah.
Oh, was that Steve? Okay, so.
Yeah.
We'll have to, push that out there to really help people understand that this technology stuff is not an intrusion. It really is a game changer, and especially when it comes to our youth. So thanks for letting me hang out, and thanks for letting me share.
Absolutely, anytime. And again, all the platforms I have are to literally give more exposure to technology. So if you are watching and you are a hacker, you are a developer, a programmer, if you have an app, if you have a website, if you build robots, if you're an astronaut, if you happen to have any type of spaceship, rocket, if your name is Elon Musk, please contact me, because I do want to add you to this platform. If you're a graphics designer, visual conceptualist, artist, 3D, holograms, whatever, please contact me, because these are platforms that I made for you to be on intentionally, because I want to put the word out. My company's iBroadcast Enterprises, get the name iBroadcast Enterprises. So, I want to do that, and I want to be able to use this platform for you. Check me out at www.techsocialite.info, because I'm an informant on technology, or you could say I'm an information activist, whichever. So you can also hit me on Facebook at Cairo Qween. That's CAIRO space QWEEN, QWEEN. And I'm also on Twitter at Cairo Qween. That's CAIRO QWEEN, all together. You can find me on Pinterest. You can find me on Instagram under iBroadcast. You can find me on probably everything else. Anything else you can think of, I'm probably on that. LinkedIn, Cairo Qween. So, yeah, all that stuff. I'm a social media junkie, so yeah, I'm on all that stuff. And link up with me. You can email me if you have any questions, comments, you want to add something to the show. If you want to be on the show, email me at cairoqween@gmail.com. So that's C-A-I-R-O at C-A, I can't, okay. CAIROQWEEN @gmail.com. So I hope that you will tune in for the next one. Next week, unfortunately, I will not be doing a Monday show because I'll be doing my first broadcast, A Taste of Technology, from Microsoft Linux Mall in Buckhead, Atlanta. So I hope to see all the people who can possibly show up there. And if you don't show up, I want you to watch the broadcast on the various platforms that it'll be on: iLevel 360, the Lounge Network, yeah, I can't remember everybody else, Digital Afro, and then of course my new platform that'll be built out. It may not be built out by next week, but it'll be built out. So definitely want you to tune in and watch and just, you know, give me feedback. I need that. So thank you again to Haijak, that www.hijakd.com. So you want to check him out. That's Jack at Haijak. And the Lounge Network, of course, the Lounge Network, simply.com. iLevel 360, I like ice cream, level, the number 360.com. Check that out. We'll be on there. It may not air on Monday, but that's when we'll be taping inside of the Microsoft Center or Microsoft Store. And we'll be in the back where the couches and the lounges are and the big screen. So come and visit us. In addition to, yeah, if you want to put anything in the bags, if you want to sponsor, be a vendor, email me, call me. My number is 707-500-0198. That's 707-500-0198. Email me again at CAIROQWEEN@gmail.com. And I'm Cairo Qween, and I was really happy to have you today for Face to Face with Cairo Qween. And I just love seeing your beautiful face. We'll see you next time. Thank you.